Yeah, you're talking about the cooking show, yeah.
So that's pretty neat. Now they can take that on the road.
So what's the camera see? It sees all of us, I assume, and it sees you, and there's two different...
There's two shots.
Nice.
Yep. This is your guys' camera right here. Okay. So all of you handsome gentlemen.
Pointed directly at me.
Yeah.
Me only.
Yeah.
Well, we focused it on you. They're also in the shot, but it's set up for Sean May. And then that's my shot right there. And we're live right now. We're live.
Nice.
On YouTube. Yep.
Okay. Well, just so you guys know, my kid is listening for about the first 10 minutes. Hi, Paxton. Are you listening? I don't know if they're on there yet, so I'll probably have to say hi again. What time is it?
So
so no swearing until he's off the air.
Okay. So G-rated for 10 minutes then. Okay?
About, yes.
All right. Somebody watch the clock here.
Oh, should I put on my things? There we go. All right.
Yeah. Put your headphones on.
Check, check. All right. I hate the sound of my voice.
Yeah, me too.
Good coffee, though.
Sweet. So welcome, you guys. Welcome to the Timkast.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim.
Thank you so much for coming. With us tonight we have Phil Lipscomb, right? Founding member of the band Taproot. Father, right? Fairly
Yes,
recent
sir.
father.
Yeah.
Father, husband, and also jiu-jitsu practitioner. We also have that in common.
Yes.
Yeah. Have you been training much in Cincinnati?
No.
No.
I have no time to do anything. I don't watch movies anymore. I don't do anything except take care of my kids and go to work.
Yeah. All right.
I've practiced once for the show coming up.
Okay. Oh, I mean, actually, the material you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, maybe you'll find time to slip it back in, you know?
I'm trying. I'm trying.
And Dave Coughlin,
hey, how are you?
drummer for the band Taproot.
What up?
And my brother, and welcome to the
Thank
show.
It's nice to be back.
And a extra special guest, Sean May.
Yeah.
Hey, man.
Hey.
Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sean May is a bass player extraordinaire, luthier extraordinaire. I mean, I can go on and on about Sean May. And Phil said, hey, Sean might be coming over for the hang. I said, well, let's throw a microphone up and have him sit in and join us. Right?
He's got content.
He's got
We know he
content,
does.
yeah.
And a really
yeah.
cool hoodie.
Yeah, cool hoodie, backwards
Very
cap.
old school.
Yeah, and an intelligent guy. So why wouldn't we have him on the show?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's the smartest one here.
Yeah, I got to turn this air conditioning off. So.
Oh, that because that hum?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, we're passing around the idea of covering a Mad Seasons song at one point.
Ooh.
Well, River of Deceit, of course.
Really?
Yeah. But then it's just kind of like, it's a little, I mean, I love the song, but it's a little slow for what we do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you guys try and like rough it up a little bit? Like,
Oh,
did
we
you try?
didn't get beyond, hey, what about this?
Right.
You know, it didn't go any farther than that.
God, still might be my favorite album. I mean, it's hard.
It sounds so lively.
It's hard.
Awesome.
You talk about Zeppelin, you talk about the Beatles, you talk about these, these crazy landmark albums, but then you go Mad Season. That's a hell of an album.
Yeah.
And I don't know what about the timing of it. You know, it was sort of post Seattle-ish, right? It was on the backside of all those bands having their time, and then they just kind of threw this thing together. I don't know. It was very influential to me, man. Like, I wore that CD out. That was the first CD I ever wore out.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Huh. I'm trying to think of first CD I wore out. Probably Pearl Jam's second album.
Vitalogy
I'm
Versus?
blanking on it. Versus, yeah.
Versus wore that one out?
Yeah, yeah. Because that was also the first CD I bought. So before that, it was tapes.
Okay. Yeah, first CD I got was Appetite for Destruction.
That was my first tape.
Was it
believe it or
really?
not? Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, so were you a little late on the CD or just early on the CD thing?
I was really early on the CD thing.
Okay.
My aunt, God bless her, came back from being stationed in Japan, and she had a dope
Walkman
stereo, and she had a CD player, and she set it all up at my house. She didn't have anywhere to set it up. She was living with us when she came back from the Navy, and she's like, here you go. And it was awesome. Klipsch speakers, a Klipsch amp, and a CD player, and it was the kind that was flat, and the door opened this way, you know?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. And she didn't have any CDs. Like she like her husband or her ex-husband, whoever she broke up with in the Navy, he had the CDs, but she had the gear. So I had to start my CD collection. That must have been 89?
Yeah, it should have been. Yeah, the
Yeah.
album came out what, 88, I think.
Yeah.
Appetite.
Yeah, so 89, that's when I started buying
That's way
CDs.
early. Wow.
Yeah, and only because of my aunt. Only
Yeah.
because she brought this CD player home from Japan.
Yeah, because the Pearl Jam album, I believe, came out in '93, and I was a little late on the CD thing, but
Okay.
still.
10 was before that, though, right?
Yeah. 10 I think was around 89, 90
That was
as
later,
well.
90,
right?
91.
90, 91. Okay.
Yeah.
Can you believe that there's
Oh yeah, you're right.
there's a romanticism swirling around about cassette tapes? Have you picked up on
I
this?
was reading an article,
Jesus
ASCAP or
Christ, dude,
something.
nobody wants that.
No, I don't want to go back.
The
Nobody
tape
wants
place
that.
is like they hung on to all this eighth inch or quarter inch tape from back in the day.
Yeah. Well, then I can
and it's
totally
worth
understand that.
so much money right now.
Really?
Yeah.
Because everybody wants tapes.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I could probably dig into my storage somewhere and make some money.
Like their business was up 75% this year.
Oh, you're talking about somebody stowed away the tape
tape.
that goes in the cassette.
Yep.
Okay. Because
Oh, okay.
we all know that the real tape is never kind of really ever left, right? People still track analog,
Sure.
2-inch,
Yeah.
24 track. People still master with half-inch, quarter-inch, reel-to-reel. But the cassette tape, I can't. Nobody wants that. Like nobody's who's knocking down the door for that to come back.
Right.
It's
Yeah,
got to
I
be a
don't-
romantic thing. Maybe it's younger kids or
Yeah, I mean,
somehow.
quality's not there. Just having to fast forward to find the song you
Right.
want.
The presentation of the album
Yeah.
is not.
But at the same time, I will say this: with the benefit of tapes that I loved back then is you didn't have this one song you listen to necessarily. You listen to the whole album generally.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
That was
front to
kind of-
back.
that
You
was
get
just back
A side
then
and
in
B
general.
side or G side and R side for Guns N' Roses. That was like a thing, and like the album itself was created with that in mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
the
you had that
cassette tape kind of honored
one side
the
versus
side
the other
thing.
side. Yeah, so it's like
Yeah.
almost like two different concepts sometimes, depending on Appetite for Destruction started with was It's So Easy, and ended with on the first
Rocket
side
Queen.
ended
Oh,
on the
first
first side
side.
with Paradise City, if I
Paradise.
remember right.
Oh.
And that was like the G side, the gun side, and the R side is the Roses side, which had more of the love songs like My Michelle and I Used to Love Her, or Used to Love Her on there,
For Destruction
and then Rocket Queen and things like that.
track.
By the way, hi Paxton, if you're out there. I know I'm supposed to say hi to you. Hope you're enjoying it. Oh, okay.
See, I wanted to say.
Oh, they're done already.
I was gonna say My Michelle. I would have thought My Michelle was the end of side one.
Mm-mm.
No,
Nope. I'm pretty sure not.
you're saying Paradise City was.
Yes.
Oh, so My
Yeah.
Michelle started side two.
The Roses
You got,
side.
Got it.
Look at the listing right now. My Michelle, Think About You. So, all those songs
That was Roses.
are about the Roses side. The front side. Oh, Welcome to the Jungle. Sorry, I can't believe I didn't think that was of course that's
right.
the first song.
You're right after it though. So
Yeah, but all
No, I
those
got you.
songs, none of those are love songs.
Right.
Except for 5. 'cause
Right.
That's
These
a
are the
different kind
street
of love.
songs. Right. These are the.
Yeah, right?
Interesting. And so that's gone. Right.
Yeah.
So that's gone. That's
Yeah.
gone forever.
Yeah, you won't get that. And people tend these days, it seems, to write for the one song or the couple of songs and then the rest stuff. It's not. I don't know. It depends on the band, of course, but it's not as. I don't know. You don't get that kind of thing.
No.
Only the
Everybody's
Foo
writing
Fighters.
singles, right? Or Foo Fighters
Yeah.
are kind of keeping it alive.
Yeah.
Only them, it appears.
Is there the potential for, in the same way that my biggest impression of the grunge thing, the Seattle thing at the time, I was like, oh, this is Sabbath. Like that's what I heard, as those bands were coming back. I was like, oh, this is just Sabbath. Like I felt that it was like an homage to late 60s, early 70s heavy metal. That's what I read the Seattle thing at. I wasn't,
Right.
I didn't give a fuck about Doc Martens and, Plaid and whatever. Just as a fan, as a listener, what I perceived was, oh, they're paying honor to the early 70s.
Right.
And will there ever be, is the possibility still there for there to be a throwback like that? Like, can it happen again? Are we just old men telling kids to get off our lawn? Or
Well,
like,
I mean, you just said tapes are coming back, so you never know.
yeah. If the tape comes back, that's kind of gets you close to that whole side thing, like you were just saying.
Yeah.
The A side and the B side.
But I don't see it being a big thing. I mean, just like on vinyl's a thing too.
Vinyl's
but
a thing.
it's
yeah.
not. It's not mass consumption by any means.
Right.
I mean, it's bigger than you would ever think.
It's a novelty.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hetfield said on Rogan's show that they bought a pressing company in Germany. Like
They own their masters.
They
own it all.
They own their
Oh, yeah?
masters now,
Yeah.
but Yeah, that's for sure. They do. And then he also said that on the show. But he also said that, their managers were just, through various networks or whatever, came across a record pressing company that had gone out of business, and they had the equipment, and they called Metallica and said, hey, we found the stuff, are you guys interested? And they bought all of it. So they bought everything, and they had been inspired. He even mentioned Jack White on the Joe Rogan show.
Okay.
He had mentioned like what Jack White was doing, and Hetfield mentioned that as being inspiration for them. They're like, yeah, buy it, buy that shit, and they own it now, so they can press whatever they want.
Right. Well, the problem that we ran into with, because we've talked about doing vinyl pressings for some of our albums, was you're limited on space.
Yeah.
If you want to put more stuff on there, your quality is greatly degraded because there's only so much data you can put on a vinyl pressing.
Okay.
So there's, if you want good quality, I forget what the number is,
The
but something like
runtime,
48 minutes or something. It's nothing. You can't have this long album.
That's why there were 4 album sets, right? There were 4 album discs, like the Dark Side of the Moon. Some of those big, concept records were sometimes 4 records long.
Yeah, and then you also have to get the timing right. You know what I mean? Because one side has to be a certain amount. Depending on the band, but like you might have a longer one side than the other, or what you want it to be. But then you have to kind of manipulate it to try to fit both sides, because again, you're just limited on space.
It's so funny because it's like a muscle. It's like a muscle that's atrophied. Mm-hmm. Like back then, right up until Appetite for Destruction, that was still a muscle that people were using. Hey, as we write these songs, like down to the chorus, down to repeating the chorus at the end of a song, they were constantly thinking. The producer and the engineer, they were tracking.
Yeah, to
the
make
track
sure
times.
it's the right time.
Yeah, like, hey, what are you guys thinking? I mean, you can imagine the meetings and the bottles of Jack Daniels and lines of cocaine. The arguments to get that tracking right.
Well, you also see even on some of the, I remember more on tapes. I wasn't big on records. That was, before my time. But on tapes, you'd get a side that had, 5-10 minutes at the end. And it
would say, this is here on purpose or something to that effect.
And you have to fast forward. You flip it over and have to rewind it. Wait.
Yep.
You play again.
Yeah. God, it's amazing because that's like a function that nobody in the music industry right now is even exercising.
No, you don't have to think
there's no
about
muscle. You don't have to think about it.
You can do however many tracks generally. I mean, I'm sure there's a limit, but you can do a lot more on a CD than you ever could before.
See, I've never been a curmudgeon about shit like that. Like I've always been the first to admit, I say this to you all the time, we're outmoded. Like I'm obsolete. I'm the first to admit that I'm obsolete. So none of these
explain. I don't know what you're saying.
Like talking about I'm romantic about the way things were, but I would never use my romanticism for the past to try and stand up to progress.
The world is moving so fast, and we're dinosaurs.
Yeah. I'm completely comfortable with my dinosaur-ness.
Speak for yourselves, guys. I'm on the cutting edge.
You're on the cutting edge.
I'm just kidding.
Tim reminds me.
I say that as a guy that
time.
hasn't seen a new movie in like 6 years or something.
Yeah, you're right in the fray there, huh?
Tim and I talk about a lot of things, and he's accepted it, but he reminds me, you're a dinosaur with the way you think.
Like, and I think that's just intelligent. I think it's just smart. Like people. I'm not going to be the guy bitching about the fucking Republicans and I'm not going to be that guy. And the way the world's changing, and you used to be able to leave your doors unlocked. I'm not going to be that guy,
right?
Because the beauty of having children is that you see that it's their world. This is their world, huh? Member? Yeah, no member berries. You got to put the member berries down. They're not good for you. But I look at my son, and like as soon as I get amped up about something, and you'll see this stuff. It's coming for you. How old's your boy?
My stepson is 6.
Okay.
And he loves music, and I love.
Oh yeah,
the
he's been on stage
going.
with Taproot.
Yeah, exactly. But
his
between me and my wife, our musical tastes are varied.
So he's gonna get everything.
He listens to Skrillex, he listens to Pantera, he listens to Michael Jackson.
Perfect.
He listens to Taproot. He listens to Korn. His range is just ridiculous.
Make sure you spice some good country in there, like
he does
Nelson,
country. Well,
Merle Haggard, the real stuff.
I don't know that stuff though.
Okay. Well, Google it.
He likes Luke Bryan.
He'll figure it out. Well,
but he's young.
He'll get over it.
That's the thing. The thing with pop music is it's popular for a reason. It's catchy for a reason.
Oh yeah.
And for
a good song's a good song.
Like
right?
for me, when I I've opened my mind up so much to music than I used to be. I used to be so like, oh, it's got to be this. It's got to be heavy. It's got to have these kinds of guitars. It got to be this kind of that. But now, I mean, the songs that are in mostly are kid songs for one, but I enjoy it. The movie Trolls, I have those songs in my head all the time.
Yeah.
All the time. That's what's running through my head.
Right.
Moana, same kind of thing. But I can enjoy those songs for two reasons. One, I think there's something to them. The people that write them are obviously good at writing music because they're writing for these big, movie productions. You know what I mean? These aren't guys that just, these are guys that have worked their craft. But also, seeing your kids dance to these things just changes your perspective. When they enjoy it, like, it's just like, how can you get mad at that?
No.
Like,
No.
what's that Silento song that, normally I would hate, watch me work. Watch me, I watch my kid.
Lipscomb.
I watch my kid dance to that. He doesn't anymore, but back then it's just like I can't get mad at that.
No, pop music, right?
Yeah.
It feels good. Yeah, it's got its place.
Yeah,
and that's a perfect example of my point is that it's their world. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be the guy that just bitches. I don't want to be the guy sitting in the corner talking about how it used to be, and I don't want to be angry. It's their world. They're transforming, they're adapting to it, right? So I don't see the point in yelling and being the old guy saying get off my lawn. I don't,
because you can't change it. There's no going back. There is no going back. I'm with you. Once the internet hit, that changed our entire planet.
I realized it so cleanly and perfectly as my son started getting older and having his own point of view. He's 17.
Wow.
17, dude. Yeah, 17 years old. He's a senior.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's amazing. It's so amazing. And he's such a good kid. I was so blessed, and, I really lucked out. He's into shoes. He's into expensive shoes. That's his thing.
I got one of those.
Yeah, you got the girl package.
Mm-hmm.
So See, Phil and I, we don't have the girl package.
No.
Not yet, right?
Right. My wife would love
a
to
girl.
have a girl. Yeah.
Right on.
But then if we try and have another boy, then she's even more outnumbered than she is now.
Then you got to try again.
Right.
That's a slippery slope.
No.
Yeah.
No. It's. I mean, God, raising a kid is so amazing. But it's one of the toughest, if not the toughest thing I've ever done in my life.
You've really taken to it, Phil. I mean, just from a distance, you're doing a great job.
Yep.
Like it really suits you.
I love it. I would not change a thing about being a dad, or like I wouldn't. I love both my kids. They're just they are my world. They're the reason I do pretty much everything now.
Yeah.
Like they're the reason the show is happening. Honestly,
You told me on the phone.
I was talking to Tim, and
my man was like, "If my family can't do it, I can't do it."
yeah, especially
Can you imagine saying that? We never said that.
I never would have said that before.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it'd just be like, sorry, guys.
Sorry, guys. Yeah. It's like Dewey Cox. I'm going to miss some births. I can't be here every time you have a baby.
Right.
But for me, I mean, I'd done the touring for so long, and I hadn't had a family for so long,
Yeah.
And now that I have it, I cherish it greatly.
God
I
bless
cherish
you.
my time with them.
God bless
And
you.
so when the show was being offered, when Dave got that ball rolling, I started.
We're talking about the show at the Token,
Yeah,
right?
Token
Celebrating
Lounge,
20 years of music.
December 23rd.
World famous Token Lounge. Our good friend and brother John Anton is bringing Taproot to the world famous Token Lounge. Yeah. So.
Yeah, but I was honestly hoping someone would say no.
There were no no's.
Listen, I understand it's December 23rd. You might not be able to make it, and everyone's just like, "Oh yeah, man, I'll make it work. I'm like, oh.
Dude.
But I mean, even before that though, the reason I said yes in the first place is I was about to say no anyway. I'm like, because I'd already written it off. I'm not doing any shows this year.
Yeah.
And then I saw that it was all ages, and then I confirmed that it was all ages, and I'm like, oh. I mentioned it to my wife, and she's like, oh, and here we are.
Wow.
I mean, not that I'm not excited for the show. So I am, but at the same time.
So yeah, the 20th anniversary concert for Taproot at the Token, in spite of Phil.
Yeah, it's in spite of me.
Totally. Yeah.
Isn't it funny how that shit works out?
He's like, don't worry, babe.
Yeah, don't worry. This will never happen. It's 2 days before Christmas.
Right.
We live 5 hours away.
We live 5 hours away, and it's going to be at midnight. It's going to be 21 and over.
Yeah.
It's not at midnight. It's not at midnight. Don't listen to him. It's 10 o'clock when we go hit the stage about.
No, I was saying that would have been the downside.
Right. No, but it's going to be fun.
So it is all ages. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what got us together.
Like all ages, as long as, I mean, if you're underage, if you're under 18, you have to have your parent with you.
Okay.
But then
Fair enough.
18 and plus, for for everyone else.
Cool. So December 23rd. I mean, that's the big reason why we're together here.
All you
aside
8-year-olds
from
out there
being
can't just show up by yourself.
Yep.
Yeah, you can't Uber. Don't Uber to the Token Lounge. I don't know. They might let him in. I don't know. December 23rd, world famous Token Lounge in Westland, Michigan. Tickets are on sale. I posted on the live stream, the YouTube on the Timkast YouTube channel. I posted a link to the Ticketmaster.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, great.
Thing. Yeah.
Nice.
And then when I post this, when it actually goes up on iTunes, I put it on the website. I'll put the link in there as well.
Nice.
So,
Nice.
but super easy to buy tickets, and it's all ages. I think it's $20.
Yeah,
Yeah,
$20,
right?
and I
Jesus.
think it's 25 day of show.
Okay.
So don't
Yeah.
wait. Buy
Don't
your tickets
wait.
now.
Yeah, buy it ahead of time. $20. Save yourself $5. All ages. And the theme of the show is the theme. You guys did another show this year, right? Am I?
Yeah,
you
we did
the
a
machine shop.
Yeah, and that
I was there. I think I
yeah.
was there.
And I'm blanking completely. What was the reason for that show? That was our 5th. What was it?
Well, it had something to do with what's his name's book, right?
It was
Or-
the
No,
Blue
no.
Sky Research.
No, not Blue Sky Research.
Or,
was that what we did? Was it Blue Sky? No. I'm completely blanking. My mind's going. Welcome? Did we do Welcome
Yes.
front to back?
Yes.
Okay, that's what it was. We did
was
Welcome front to back. Blanking.
Ah.
That's right. It was the 17th and a half anniversary of Welcome. No, I'm just kidding. It's like was it probably the 15th anniversary of Welcome?
Wait
at
a
the
second.
time?
Wait. I thought you were bullshitting there for a second. The show at the machine shop that we're
Yep.
talking about earlier this year,
Yep.
that was for another album?
The first night was.
Yeah, that's right. That's what it was. When we the first
Oh,
night.
yeah,
we
two
played-
sold-out nights
Yeah,
at the
that's
Machine
right.
Shop.
We ended up doing 2 sold out nights. The first night we played Welcome front to back, and then
Okay.
a few extra songs at the end. And then the second night we had more of a typical Taproot show,
And
but still Welcome heavy because that's what we'd been heard.
Welcome was the
second album with Poem. That was our
Okay.
big. That was
Right,
the big
the big
album.
hit.
So
Yeah.
it's
We actually have Poem
yeah,
pulled up
15th anniversary of that album. It's
'Cause
all
we had
it's all coming
toured-
back to me now.
Like my first couple runs were the first album from front to back.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah,
back-
we did. Yeah, we did Gift front to back with Dave. He stepped in actually in the middle of.
Yeah.
God, that tour was crazy. I mean, what was it like? A week before we had to start the tour, Nick had quit. We had, there were some issues there, but we had next to no time to try to find another drummer to fill in.
Okay.
And I had called Dave up, and he.
Through Sean. I think Sean.
Yeah, I asked.
Sean May.
Look at this. We have the perfect
This
people
is
here.
why you're here, Sean.
Yeah, I had asked Sean, does he know anybody that's awesome at drums, and he recommended Dave. And so
He said no, but
I know a guy that plays drums, so that's close enough. No, I called Dave up, and and I said, hey, would you be willing to rehearse or try out? And he said yes. And unbeknownst to me at the time, he hadn't played his drums in like 6 months. He'd pretty much quit, decided to quit the music industry, sold a bunch of his stuff, and was he had like 102
I
degree
was
fever.
sick. I was just going through the Crohn's disease thing, and I'm still going through it
Right.
today. But
was that before the diagnosis? Before we were in the hospital, or was
no,
it
that was post that.
post?
Yeah.
that?
So I was just kind of
Yeah.
dealing with it. I was just getting on meds and those kinds of things, and I wasn't doing well, and
But without hesitation, he still said yes.
you have to say yes.
Well, yeah.
For anything to
It's-
happen
I-
in
yeah.
this business, you just say yes to everything.
No, it was
pretty much.
it was a blessing. He'd been
Yeah, and it was.
he'd been waiting
Yeah.
for that. Like he needed it, and he wanted it, and
Yeah.
we all wanted it for him. So
And it's not just. I remember this now. It wasn't just learn the Gift album because we're doing the Gift tour. We had one.
Which is not easy. It's a
oh my
fucked up.
god,
Right, we
Yeah.
Sucks.
we're young and dumb, and we're doing stupid stuff. Throw in little extra beats here and there just for no
Yes.
reason. Weird
Yeah.
time signatures that don't make any sense.
Oh yeah,
Like it doesn't flow.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, here's a weird
4
twist.
measures of 12/8.
Right. Like,
I remember playing him some of the songs, and he was just like, my
Yeah.
head just exploded.
Well, what it took me back to when he played me the Taproot stuff that he was rehearsing for the for tryouts and then for the tour is it took me back to teaching, and when these kids started bringing in new metal like Taproot,
right.
and it was just like I'm like, how about we go? Let's pull out some Zeppelin. You'll get to this eventually. You'll get to this. There's a lot of detuning involved here. Let's go through some Zeppelin. Let's learn some Sabbath. And that's initially like was a flashback to my teaching days.
Right.
But again,
but also with that show though, or that tour rather, so it was mainly gift, but there was one, maybe two festivals that we were doing that weren't going to be gift. So he had to learn an additional number of songs. I think it was like 19 or 21,
there was like 20
something like that.
Something songs total
that he had to learn in like 6 days.
Yeah.
Something ridiculous. And it wasn't like he was some gigantic Taproot fan and he just had to like put the parts together
I
for
knew
the
2
whatever.
songs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we have a lot of ties between friends and family and studio people, the Paddlins.
The Paddlins, yeah, for sure. Well, that's my
the
connection.
Sean Mays,
and
all
Sean,
of those
yeah.
things, So like I knew of the band.
Dave was a fantastic fit.
Yeah, he is. He's a good.
It's
he's
been
a good
great.
drummer.
Yeah, but to be able to learn all those songs that fast and come in and just he nailed it.
Yeah.
And he nailed it on the tour, and I got to see it in action. I love when we were rehearsing a different time, and we're just tossing around ideas. Oh, what song do you want to? Let's try to maybe play. I think it was Wherever I Stand, and he hadn't heard it yet. We hadn't played it yet, but we decided we wanted to play it on whatever next tour was going to be. He goes upstairs, for just for a little. We're taking a little break. 5 minutes later, comes back downstairs, and pretty much everything but the bridge he just nails. I'm like, how did you do that?
From playing cover bands.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah.
That taught me the discipline to listen to something and to try to duplicate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he just on his phone, just like this, up in Steve's garage, just like this.
Yeah.
Listen to the song real quick.
Yeah.
Comes downstairs, and let's try it out. And then,
yeah.
Beautiful.
See, that's funny because the kung fu that you guys use to create songs, like we used to call it the band of brother approach, like the basement brother thing. We used to sort of make fun of it, but like you guys crafted these songs looking at each other, right? Mm-hmm. The Taproot stuff, that material was created physically in front of each other, right? It was close.
Just
close proximity.
Different albums had different.
But you guys were all
writing process, yeah.
Yeah, your eyes were connected as you were forming those songs, you know. And coming from the cover world, Dave had to be able to chart songs. Like he had to look at them more, from a higher point of view or something, like looking down.
For sure,
at them.
and it's not like I'm writing straight charts.
No.
I'll write down a couple.
You map it out, yeah.
A couple little things.
Actually, I still have your notebook.
Yeah.
I thought it was neat, so I saved it. It's somewhere.
Thank you.
Yeah.
It's I use a lot of vocal cues.
Yeah.
Because I can get to those quicker and not have to necessarily stare at a sheet of paper.
Yeah.
So that's how I kind of navigate my way around.
Right.
But
and you're good at it. Yeah.
Thank you. Taproot plays in 6 a lot.
Right.
Of course, I dabbled in 6 in songs, but like
we're
really gonna play 6, and it was awesome.
We're gonna ride it till the wheels fall off.
And
right?
on top of that,
we're gonna do 4/6. We're gonna do 8/6.
We're gonna do it to tracks too,
Oh, and we're and we got a backup.
Oh yeah,
track.
you gotta learn the tracks and God, we definitely asked him to do a lot.
There's some weird things that happen and some zips and zaps,
Yeah.
Is there some click track? I remember some click track you were talking about that was just in your ear. Ging, 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 ging.
Totally. There's a lot of stuff,
So
and you just do it.
For the fans or people that are listening, a lot of bands have an accompaniment track, that the little zings and zaps that you hear when you're listening on your favorite stereo system or on your favorite pair of headphones, and you hear that stuff that makes it sound cinematic and all those little ear candy things.
It's not cheating. It's not something we rely on.
No, it's spices.
It's something
it's not guitars. It's not vocals. It's just those little sounds that you
little
hear.
Things that were magical in the studio, and you want to bring that to the live audience.
Yeah.
You don't want to deprive them of that.
Well, we actually started as a band without once, like I'm a founding member, but not a founding member, in that there was a small moment of an iteration of Taproot before I actually joined in. Steve was playing drums. There's a different singer, different bass player. But as far as once I joined, we were going to be a 3-piece with a drum machine. That was our brilliant idea to be a little different.
You guys played like that, right?
We played one show like that at the Jackson Theater in Jackson, Michigan, or the Michigan Theater in Jackson, Michigan. And it was awful.
Yeah. But there was a minute where people were getting away with that, with the bands. There was a local band called Hal, not Kraftwerk, but, there were bands that were trying to pull off, like, it was like 4 or 5 guys standing there with a guitar or a keytar and then there was no drummer, right? There was a minute where that was kind of happening.
It was an idea that for us it just didn't really work. And I mean, I had never played live. I'd only been playing for like a year and a half or 2 years at that point, and had never played in front of people.
Yeah.
I was the one that got us the gig because I knew somebody that said, "Hey, I can get you a show at this place." I was like, "All right." So after that, we got Jared involved.
Okay.
But also another something a lot of people don't know, something we had talked about, but it never came to fruition, was something we wanted to do at some point, was have a live drummer and an electronic kit drummer on stage.
Okay.
Have both of those going on while we're doing our thing too. We thought that would be cool, but we never had the budget or the means to make that actually work. But
okay.
I thought that would have been neat because we do have those drum machine sounds, but we wanted to do it live.
Yeah.
So
in absence of that, that's where the backup track comes in, and every band does it. And it's when a band's doing it honestly and from the heart, they're just bringing those sounds that were created in the studio to the stage because they don't want to deprive the live audience of those little special things. That's the only reason. It's not
most of the time. Sometimes we deprive them.
Yeah.
Sometimes we deprive them. Sometimes we just play the song straight.
But the spirit of having the backup track is not to pull anything over on you.
It's the same thing as was in the studio. We didn't play those live in the studio. Those were created like our second album, Welcome. All those sounds were created by Jeff Terzo from God Lives Underwater. Very
great band.
Yeah, great band, but not very well known.
Which record was he on?
Welcome.
Really?
Yeah, all those little sounds like in mine and throughout that album are Jeff Terzo. He's a really cool dude.
I'll never forget seeing that band at St. Andrews.
I never saw him.
What a great song that was.
They were so awesome.
God, I probably played that song a million times on
Change?
The Edge. No.
Which one?
Undone?
No.
Is that what it is?
Till I hear
So
it
wrong?
From your mouth? Yeah. That video is amazing.
Yeah.
Where he's it's got that.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Life's
Do you remember the video?
not fair.
It's a one shot, and it's one of those was a competitive eater guys. It was before Takeru Kobayashi. It's not him, but it's a different guy, and he eats all this food. But then they play the video backwards, so it's almost like he's taking out all this food out of his mouth and putting it on the table in front of him.
Right here,
and it's a lot of food.
Yes.
Yeah, check this out, dude. This is a great video.
Yeah, we got to get past the stupid YouTube ad.
Can people see this?
No.
Okay.
They can't.
Oh, and we probably Yeah,
and we can't put the content on. There's all kinds of
Right.
stuff.
I remember hearing about that.
But yeah, all we did was go to YouTube. We pulled up God Lives Underwater, From Your Mouth.
Yeah, check it out.
Kobayashi?
It's a great song.
Is
No, this is not Kobayashi. Before Kobayashi.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
This is a great video. This is so ahead of its time.
Yeah.
Sean, do you know this?
No.
No?
Oh, this song?
Oh.
Sure you do.
God, it's been so long.
Yeah.
It's freaking me out, though.
He's going backwards.
Yeah.
Right? It's backwards.
It's backwards, yeah. But it's all one shot, so we ate all this in one sitting. I think they did like 3 takes of it, if I remember right.
No shit.
Yeah, but it's that trick where you're playing it backwards.
Like that chip,
forward.
like the chip just comes out of his mouth, yeah. And constantly chewing and just pulling stuff out of his mouth, And given the song title, obviously, but yeah.
From Your Mouth, yeah.
That's pretty rad.
And there's a pizza that comes up, and he's just doing he's pulling outside, kind of like, and then it puts it down.
How did the God Lives Underwater guy get involved with Welcome? Was he?
We were fans of the band. I don't remember exactly how it worked out, but when it was talked about, we just mentioned, hey, we should try to get Jeff Terzo. He was the bass player and the programmer for God Lives, and so we threw the idea. I met up with him, and he was down to work with us, and we actually partied at his house one time, and that's the first, I think the only time I should say. But that well, the weird thing about LA is no matter what party you go to, no matter who you hang out with, there's probably going to be some random celebrity that shows up. Like it's just a weird because they know somebody. You know what I mean? Sure. I've seen Punky Brewster at a random thing. Soleil Moon Frye, but it was Dave Foley was at Jeff Terzo's house
From Kids in the Hall.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, oh my god! And we're new to LA, so we're like pointing at oh my gosh,
What was he on? Wait. What year was that? What show was he? He was on a big show.
This was like 2001, probably.
Was he on talk radio?
He's been on a lot of stuff.
Broadcast.
He
was on something.
Yeah.
A big show, a big sitcom at the time.
Yeah.
No shit. Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I watched Bill Cosby's son smoke crack in L.A.
Oh, congratulations!
In an apartment, below It was below the ground where I was staying, and we were walking Melrose, going to the clubs and stuff, and somehow all of a sudden, he had a car, and he liked to come out and just kind of slum with the long hairs. And the guy that ended up dying years later.
Yeah, that's awful.
Yeah.
That's sad. But
I watched him smoke crack in a fucking 1-bedroom apartment beneath Hollywood Boulevard. Hollywood and La Brea.
It's a weird town.
It was weird, dude. I've never smoked crack, and I'll never forget the smell of that.
Burnt plastic, right?
Yeah, but and it's thick. Like, the colloquialism they say about cutting the air with a knife, like, I just remember the crack feeling it, and like it was actually something physical that you cut in the air.
Gross.
Huh. Yeah. And then
I've
he
never...
ended up dying. What was it, a car accident or something?
I don't remember. That was a long time ago.
Long time ago, yeah. Well, this was a really long time
What
ago.
brand were you with?
Beggarman Thief.
Beggarman Thief.
Yeah. We were just doing our... it was Phil Castrodali.
Oh, no shit.
Brother, yeah, another brother Phil, man. He was in the apartment at the same time. He can verify the whole story. My God. Yeah.
Drugs are bad.
Drugs are bad. I'm here to tell you, man. I'm here to tell you. They are bad. So the 20th...
I want to pause the video. Something else is coming on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I got the Vine.
Oh, Sneaker Pimps.
That.
Nice. Anyway.
Yeah, so you go down these rabbit holes on YouTube, right?
You got to stay away.
Yeah.
Waste so much time.
So the theme of the show, December 23rd at the Token Lounge, we were talking about how that show earlier this year at the Machine Shop was welcome then. That was the theme.
Yep.
And then you guys had 2 sold-out shows. Congratulations on that. And the Machine Shop, God, what a fucking great venue, man.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
It was amazing. And it was packed, dude. We came on the second night. Me and Mark came on the add-on night, and it was shoulder to shoulder.
Oh, like that was such a fun weekend. Those crowds were amazing. I mean, they came from all over. We had people coming from Europe to see the shows.
Yes.
I mean, not just from all over the States, but
we were all
over the place.
It was good. It was all... I just remember, like, all the shirts were getting pulled out, and I was like, damn, dude.
We
that's a lot of T-shirts.
Yeah.
They were all gone, and then some.
Yeah.
Those the European Taproot fans are interesting, man, because as soon as you guys fucking whisper about a show on Facebook, and now they got another member that they can kind of
I've been treated so well by their...
Oh, no, for sure.
By the fans.
But it's interesting how the European Taproot fans, like, they're like, what, where, what? And you can hear them checking the plane ticket prices.
Right.
Like, I've never seen that, in a band like your guys, where as soon as a show is even whispered about, you can hear the fans checking plane ticket prices, especially the European fans.
Yeah.
And then at that Machine Shop show earlier this year, there was a dozen European fans, right?
Yeah, I remember the door guy saying he's never seen so many out of state and other IDs for a show than those shows, because people just came out of the woodwork. I mean, we hadn't played in a couple of years, and who knew if we were ever going to play again,
Yeah.
So I mean, now it's still going to be few and far between, but we'll still be doing shows, and we'll still make them fun, and like this one,
Yeah.
it's going to encompass all the albums,
Okay.
And that's going to be...
So as opposed to the show earlier this year at the Machine Shop, where it was sort of it was about welcome, right? Yep. This is celebrating. It's called, you named it, celebrating 20 years of music, right? 20 years of Taproot music, and it's December 23rd, Token Lounge. Tickets are available. Again, if you go to the link of the live stream, and then on the Timkast website, we'll have the link there to buy tickets. So what can we expect at this show? Is it not just... It's not going to focus on one particular album.
No, it's a little bit of everything, and we're going to go chronologically. We're just going to go. I mean, that's what makes sense. We have Jared and Dave both playing, so we're just going to go chronologically.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay. That's the plan.
Because I mean, which is weird, because it's just I mean, it's always weird whenever we don't play Poem last,
right?
Okay.
And when we play it early in the set, that's just because I mean, for our entire career, that's ever since that song came out, it's been pretty much our closer.
Okay.
So to not...
That was the hit. That was the one that
and
got
it
the
makes
most
sense.
spins.
There's no, I have no problem with that, but it's weird to throw it into a different spot.
That's cool. Kind of refreshing.
Especially early, because, we got 20 years of music, and that came out, very early in our career.
Like the welcome set.
Exactly,
There was some odd things.
The welcome set, we played it second.
Made it cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're talking about some different stuff that we haven't played before and
Okay.
things like that. You know, maybe a couple new songs.
Nice.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Steve's
Okay.
been busy. He's doing his thing.
Yeah. Steve, lead singer,
Yeah.
vocalist, songwriter,
Yep.
Taproot, founding member also.
He's
right?
out at the farm pretty much all the time in
Is
the
he?
mornings. Yeah, he
Is
goes
he out
out
there
there
with
in the
Tim?
morning. Yeah, he's just
He's in the
he's got the keys.
downstairs studio. The
No, I think he's upstairs.
Okay.
You know, Tim's doing the video stuff or
yeah.
probably sleeping.
Okay.
You know, so I
Doing,
think
doing
Steve,
Tim pedal and stuff.
Steve can just come in and do his thing, drop the wife off,
Okay.
do a little bit of that. You know.
Well, that's really good to hear, dude.
Yeah.
He's in the
Yeah.
studio that much. That's
Oh, yeah.
kind of exciting.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's such a phenom. That guy's
Yeah.
so good. So good at what he does.
Yeah, man.
He's ridiculous. Like I've heard, you know, we spent a lot of time together. You know, so you hear things like, oh, check this out. Phil pops a CD in or the tape or whatever it was, and it was a whole group of covers that the tones, the reverbs, it was all there to all these songs, and he changed all the words to all about this girl.
What?
But they were all familiar songs with all familiar tones, recorded like the way they were recorded, but every word was about this girl.
Yeah, at the time, you know, he was dating this girl. He, you know, low on money. We weren't touring, weren't doing a lot, you know, and you know, he wanted to get her something for Christmas, but didn't have, you know, the money to get her anything good. So we just created this album. I did a cover and everything. I just did a whole album of cover songs. And my favorite one, he did this one by Shakira, "Hips Don't Lie." Oh my God, it's just like the greatest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Dang.
Like I used to listen to that thing. I mean, if that was on, it was on my iPod, but I pretty much burned that thing out. Like I used to listen to those, and still do listen to it sometimes. You know, just pop it in. Just if I'm tired on a drive or something, I'll pop that in, and it always perks me up. You know, it's
Really?
it's so good.
So he took known songs, cover songs. Did he play all the tracks?
Yeah.
Yeah, he does everything.
Oh, he does.
Yeah, because I know he plays everything, right?
I mean, and he had. I mean, the mix. It's like Imogen Heap's on there. What's Backcountry? What's the band? Avenged Sevenfold's on there. Mamas and the Papas. I mean, it's a big range.
So he took these songs
Fergalicious
and
is on
rewrote
there.
the lyrics.
Yeah.
And all the lyrics to all these popular songs.
And
he played-
re-recorded all
re-recorded all
of
of
the
them.
music.
all the parts. Yeah.
and then rewrote lyrics
Yes.
to speak to his girl.
Yes. But these guys, like they've worked with the best of everyone. I mean, Jared, all of these guys are honed in on a lot of songwriting things
Yeah.
that they worked on, you know, like
When they were recording, you're talking
there was a
about?
lot of money involved. There
Yeah.
was a lot of time involved.
Yeah.
You know, like their story is
20 years.
it's incredible.
Well, exactly, 20 years, and that's what we're celebrating here. And it struck me when he was talking, Phil, when you were talking about, call the guy who lives underwater guy. You know, it sounded very Caesar. You know, it sounded very, you know, like I never was able to say, call this guy. I want him to program. So, you know what I'm saying? I've never been in that throne to do that. So
we
it's
were
like,
never in the throne. It was,
Well,
hey Jeff,
don't
please,
sell yourself short.
would you mind doing this for us because we think you're great? You know,
No, but it speaks
was
to what
always with
Dave was
respect.
talking about.
Yeah.
Dave was
For
saying
us,
that.
it was like, hey, this is $50 an hour,
Yeah,
man.
yeah.
We better hurry
Yeah,
up.
can we pull this? Can we
All right,
speed this up a
all
little
right.
bit?
I know we're gonna have to cut out some of the mixing. You know what I'm saying? But we gotta just finish these tracks.
Right.
I remember like making a record at Harmony Park back in the day, and the guy goes, "Hey, you guys, go get some lunch and let me mix this, and when you're back, you know, you can pick it up."
Yeah,
Right.
Yeah, saying that is not the case.
No,
you know?
we definitely were given time to flesh out stuff. You know, especially I think the longest record we took to record was Blue Sky Research. Just, you know, third album's such a tough album to do, you know, because you know, the first album's the easiest because all the songs are pretty much written and you just tweak them a little bit. Second album's tough, but you know, you're still kind of excited, and it's the first time you create new music for the band,
You got
for
the
label.
backlog.
Yeah.
You got a little back catalog.
A little bit. You can dip in a little
yeah,
bit, but most of that was new songs. But then on the third record, now it's like, now you got, you know, the label's expecting certain things and you're expecting certain things out of yourselves.
Yeah.
And it took us I think we had 80 ideas that we had at one point, and then we honed that down to, you know, I think 12, 13 songs that were on the album. But that one, we went through two producers. You know, the first one, you know, Michael Beinhorn, you know, great dude. It just the magic wasn't there for us.
Michael Beinhorn of who did he produce?
Soundgarden.
Right, right.
A bunch of other. My mind's not going to dig it out right now. But great dude. I love the guy. He gave us some great ideas. It just wasn't for us. You know, we're not those
I was talking about the
guys.
Sabbath thing with the grunge thing. Beinhorn is the one who pulled the old preamps and compressors and limiters for Super Unknown.
Oh yeah,
He's the
exactly,
guy
yep.
that talked to the Niras at Vintage King, and they had already started hoarding that stuff, and they rented some stuff from Vintage King. Well, that's what the Vintage King came out of the fact that people were calling them to rent stuff, the Nira brothers, because they had accumulated some of that gear.
Well,
and Beinhorn was one of the first guys to reach out to them and say, "Hey, do you have, this old preamp or this old compressor?" And that was Super Unknown.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well,
Okay.
who was the engineer guy that worked with Joe that just passed away? And his brother had all the Super Unknown masters, and they sued him to get them.
Oh really?
Yeah. Not Kevin Shirley.
No, I can't think of the guy's name.
Right. He worked with
Rick Perisher.
Rick Perisher.
Yeah.
Very good, dude. Yeah.
Yeah, but Beinhorn was great to work with, but just his style and our style just didn't quite fit together.
Okay.
You know, and we worked with him for a while. We tried. Even during that time, we ended up going working with Billy Corgan for a week, which was phenomenal.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, that was one of those like.
Do you mind if we? I think we should rewind a second here, man. I'm sorry, because this is good stuff.
I didn't
right?
want to give it all, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like,
I think we should rewind
there's
a
a lot,
second,
man.
Yeah, because
We've gotten to do some pretty cool stuff.
so the only reason our connection before we ever really met or hung out was the Paddlin family, right?
Right.
So how did the first record come about? I mean, you got us to where you're doing a show with a fucking drum machine, right? You had us there, right?
Right.
And then Steve switches to singing, right? He was playing, or
Well, yeah, he that was before. I mean, I was actually I'd never Taproot had never played a show like
Okay.
the other iteration of Taproot. But I had seen Steve and Mike play in the other band in Scumbag, which was SKU with the umlauts over the U, MBAG. And Steve was a drummer then, and I saw him at the IROC, I believe.
Harper, nice.
Jesus.
And I just remember that. I mean, Steve's double kick drum. I loved listening to that guy play. You know, I
Okay.
still do. I mean, he's a phenomenal drummer. But so yeah. So then when I joined the band, we did all that stuff. Then Jared got involved, and we actually recorded in Ferndale at Woodshed Studios.
Oh,
Did all of our independent releases,
Woodshed.
independent
Who
stuff there.
Who owned that? Was that Steve?
Tim.
It's on the other side of the tracks from Sutton's place.
God, I'm blanking on his last name,
Woodshed.
but Tim something.
God, Woodshed. I know Woodshed. I'm sure Downers Grove went through Woodshed. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we did all of our indie stuff there. You know, that
Okay.
was just our place to go. And, we'd go, just like you were talking about, we'd go in for a few hours.
Yeah, Woodshed. What was that guy's name? He mastered some of the Sponge records. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Woodshed. What was that guy's name? God damn.
Yeah, I'm blanking.
I'll text Vinny while we're talking.
Okay.
Years ago.
Yeah, but we did all our indie stuff there, and that was again a new experience for me. I'd never done anything. I had a piece of crap Samick bass back then. The action was about this high. Sean would have loved it. And I listen to the tones of my bass on those records. I'm like, oh. But it was still a fun experience. It was a learning experience. Then we did our one and only recorded cover back then, which was Billy Ocean's "Get Out of My Dreams, Get Into My Car,"
Nice.
which was a fun little hidden track on our Something More Than Nothing album. But let's see. So yeah, we just did that for a few years, and then of course when the thing that kind of helped us was when we were fans of Limp Bizkit. We got to see them early on, and Steve had gotten they opened for Korn. I remember they opened for Korn. Me and Steve went up to the Orbit Room up in Grand Rapids, one of my favorite venues. You know, like that place. I don't know what it's like now. I haven't been there in a while, but
I have no idea.
yeah, but it was a great place, and saw Korn with Limp Bizkit opening. I remember being like, Limp Bizkit, what kind of stupid name is that?
Right.
You know, but then like anything, you get used to it and it's okay. But I remember, they came out and they just killed it. And I don't remember if I knew them before that or not, but I just remember loving them at the time, Steve as well.
They were awesome.
Yeah. And then living in Ann Arbor, we had all those UCD stores, and kids, all the college kids would get their, CDs to review that they'd listen to and sell back to the, Wazoo or whatever. And
Okay.
so Steve had gotten a copy of it, a week, I think, before it came out. And inside, Fred had put this thing like, if send me music and gave an address.
Right.
And so we were.
He was vocal about that.
Yeah.
He said that when we
went
on that tour, right? Because Stained.
It was Interscope, right?
Yeah,
right. He had
Interscope
gotten
at
a
the time,
deal.
yeah.
He became like a VP at Interscope. It
Well,
was
this
a
is
big
before all
deal.
that. This
Oh,
is before all that. This is their
Okay.
first. This is their first album.
Okay.
You know, this
So
is
even
$3
then,
bill.
he was
even
doing
then
the
he
thing
wanted to.
around
Yeah.
A&R. Okay.
So Steve and Mike had sent him a demo, and he ended up calling us back and left a message on Steve's answering
Get the
machine.
fuck outta here.
And well, because we were early adopt. I mean, we got in there early. You know,
Yeah.
I'm sure after the album came out, I don't know if he got flooded, but I'm sure he got a lot more records. But we got to send it early because we got the early release. You know, one of those promo copies.
You had access to the address before people.
Exactly.
Okay. All
So
right.
we got in early, and then he liked what he heard. So he called us up and said, you know, we could hear again and again in the background. And he's like, "Hey man, I like what you guys are doing." A couple weeks later, they were playing in Detroit. I can't remember where. And Steve and Mike they were doing a signing too. So Steve and Mike went to the signing. You know, they wore, I think, maybe a Taproot hat or something, and they brought it to him. And he's like, "Oh," and I remember them telling me that they had. Like Fred had leaned over to like maybe John Otto or something. Hey, this band I was telling you about, you know, these are the guys, you know, in Taproot. You know, he's real excited about them and invited them to the show. They got to hang out a bit. You know, I got to hang out with him a few times. He actually came over to Steve's house and watched us rehearse.
Really?
Yeah, and which is
Wait,
funny.
so they were in town doing a show, just coincidentally, and you guys had a show.
No, we just rehearsed for him.
Oh, it was just a rehearsal.
Yeah, just a little like, hey, he wanted to see us play, see
so
what we were like.
He came over. Fred Durst came over.
Yeah, to
hung out.
Steve's house. Steve's house at the time was his mom's house, and it was Steve lived in the upstairs, you know, converted attic kind of thing. The ceilings were low. I could barely move kind of thing.
Okay.
And here's Fred Durst, you know, like in the middle of it, just, you know, recording back when, you know, he was filming everything, went to Subway. He was filming everything at Subway. You know, he used to film everything.
He had a red hat on.
Yeah, of course.
I gotta tell you, the dude ruined rock radio, but he was ahead of his time.
Oh, he was phenomenal.
He knew
I mean,
shit was coming, man.
And they still
Like-
kill it. You know, I mean, like I saw them at
Like
Rock on the Range.
Yeah.
And they sounded so good. I didn't like their song choices, but they sounded so good. I mean, for a stadium too, or is that considered is that stadium, right?
Which one?
Rock on the Range.
That's a stadium.
Yeah,
That's
huge
a soccer
place, yeah.
stadium. That's
And
50,000 seats.
they sounded phenomenal for especially for a stadium. But I mean, for any show, they sounded phenomenal.
They always brought it. West lives here.
What?
Really?
West lives downtown. They had
you
that
serious?
rehab show where they rehabbed his a craftsman house. He
Oh,
has
so
a
he
house downtown.
bought a bomb,
I didn't know
like
that.
a
Him
and
house
his
that
wife.
needed to be fixed up or something.
Yeah, I
Okay.
can't say he's here all the time, and I've never
Right.
ran into anyone that's like, "Hey,
God,
I
did
saw
I read
him."
that in the paper?
Like
or
his
something?
wife plays in a band here, like in an indie band, like they play Hamtramck and stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like
Isn't that
there's-
crazy?
There's something.
So he just kind of invested in Detroit. Like he saw the
That's
property
cool.
stuff, and
Yeah.
Wow. So he had so at the time you're saying he didn't have his deal worked out with Interscope.
Not yet. Nope.
Okay. So did you guys sort of stay in contact? Were you
Yeah,
waiting in
so-
the wings as he was developing?
Yes, absolutely. We
okay.
were just waiting in the wings
Okay.
pretty much the whole time. You know, so when Significant Other came out, they started to really blow up. Nookie came out. I remember
Yeah.
they were doing what he was called like a guerrilla show kind of thing where, you know, he was letting us know where they were going to play, but I wasn't allowed to tell anybody else because they were going to just play on some roof somewhere.
It was
and-
right-
Oh, they were
Royal
doing all that
Yeah.
shit. Yeah.
I was there.
You were there?
Yeah, I
Nice.
was there with some friends.
Yeah. You did the secret show, you know, on
Well,
the roof. They
probably
played like
had something to do with the Edge, right?
they played like a song and a half
Or-
or something, and they got
shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They played on top of what Desirable Disc or something.
Yeah.
In Royal Oak.
They were doing all that shit. Remember Korn brought monster trucks to the fucking Harmony House and shit? Do you remember all that?
I don't remember that.
Oh, yeah. That's when I was working at the Edge, 105.1 The Edge. And
I was
that's when
hanging out with
Family
Kenny
Values-
Olsen.
Yeah,
in
Kenny,
those
right.
days.
And Bill,
And
right? And he was hanging out with
he
Bill.
was on, he
That's
was
how we
Kid
met.
Rock's guitar player.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah,
they
I
were
don't-
the
yeah.
opener for Stained and Limp Bizkit. So
Huh.
I went to Chicago. Like my first time ever being in Chicago was hanging out with them on that tour and going out with all of those bands at night.
Random question. Did you know, because, you know, Kid Rock obviously has, I forget her name.
Stephanie?
Stephanie, yeah. But do you know the
Stephanie
drummer
Eulenburg.
before that?
He died.
Did
Well,
he?
no, he was like a session guy. That was Al
Was that the, like, dark-haired guy?
What was his name?
Because he used to come into Sgt. Pepper's where I used to work in Ann Arbor.
Really?
And we used to, you
Is
know,
it
we used to...
Bob Ebling, right?
Bob Ebling died?
I think so.
But yeah, he was inviting me to Kid Rock shows at the
Maybe
same time
I'm
I was
mistaken.
He's played in the studio, like you're talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Are you talking about the guy who played on as his?
No, a guy who played live, as far as I know. I never saw them, but there was a guy that used to come into Sgt. Pepper's.
The White Room, the demos was either him playing, Bob playing, or it was a drum machine.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of drum machine on Devil Without a Cause.
A ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that was in the corner at White Room.
But that guy used to come into my the convenience store I worked at in Ann Arbor, and we used to talk music sometimes. You know. So that just a random. I was just curious if you knew anything about that guy because I've never seen him since or talked to him, but he was a pretty cool dude.
We picked their producer because we picked Al for like the first real record I made.
Bridge.
Because he was the guy, like
yeah.
that whole thing was happening. Like
he knew how to make real records,
right,
at the time.
Make records.
It's interesting you were talking about them being out with Staind because Staind was actually Fred's first trophy on his wall, so to speak, or whatever, right? Which he kind of
Staind. He worked with Cold. He worked with one of the guys from Soulfly.
Right.
And all this is happening while we're just like, what about us?
What about us?
And
remember us?
Looking back, I know we were just too young and dumb. We weren't there yet, and he and Fred knew that, but we didn't know that. So we kind of felt shafted to a degree. Like, what's going on, man? We're sending you this music. We're sending you this music. You're sending this music. You're telling us you love us, and yet you're signing all these other people, but not us. Right. So when the opportunity came, and we're just exploring options. I didn't, I don't know why he got so mad about it.
Had you been sending material to anybody else? Had you? Okay.
No. But one of our
it was Ride or Die with Fred, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
But at the time, you remember Streetwise?
Yeah.
The promote. They do the handing out CDs or handing out the cassette tapes at shows and all that stuff. They had that street team thing. That was what became our managers, Bino and Mark. We were friends with some of the street teamers, and this guy Mike Jakubiak, I believe it was him. It could have been someone else because there were a couple guys that kind of were into it. But I know Mike had sent him something at one point, and maybe they didn't listen to that one, and maybe someone else sent it once we started getting that. Fred had mentioned us on a couple things. So then when they heard us again later on, Velvet Hammer, they were interested in us, and they called us up and said, "Hey, let's let's get you a show." They got us a show opening for System of a Down up in Grand Rapids. And
what year was that?
1999, I think.
Okay.
98 or 99. I want to say 99 because everything happened really fast for those guys. Like, it was one of those things like, generally music industry, you're just waiting. Like we're waiting on Fred. And they said they were going to do something, and they did. Yeah. Things started happening right away. They got us a show with System of a Down. Mark had flown out to watch us. And, the place was packed, of course, because, System and us, we had a good amount of our own people there.
Sure.
Had a really fun show, even though we had no room to play on. I was standing on all my own chords. I had, this much space to play in. Jared was literally, his back was against John's drums.
Yeah.
And, but we rocked it. We had a fun time. And from there, they started getting us showcases. Mark liked us, and so we flew out to L.A. to showcase for Rick Rubin. Because Rick Rubin had produced System of a Down, and so they were close with Rick. Flew us out there to showcase for him, and he ended up not going with us. Like, he was willing to give us a deal, but didn't want to work with us. And so we're just like, that's fine. Great meeting you, kind of thing. But
you met with Rick Rubin?
Yeah, that was our showcase. That was my first time in L.A. Got to play for him. Yeah, and oh god, dude.
Where was the showcase at? What
I don't remember now.
You don't remember?
No, just some rehearsal space. Just some rehearsal space.
An SIR kind of thing.
SIR.
Yeah. Just him sitting on a couch watching us on some stage that's about that high. Real awkward
probably
stuff. SIR,
some rented room.
Real awkward stuff.
Was he laying on the couch? I heard he's always laying on the couch. Somewhere.
How did you get on Rick Rubin's radar?
It was just Velvet Hammer. Velvet Hammer managed System of a Down.
So they were just bird dogging for you. They were
they wanted us to show us that they were legit.
Okay.
They're not just some goofy ass management out in LA that was going to try to rip us off. They wanted to show us that they can really do some stuff, and they knew people. So they got us to showcase for Rick.
Did Rick Rubin interface with you at all?
Yeah, we talked to him. Yeah, he was great.
What did he say?
I don't remember anymore.
God damn.
Just bullshitting. Talking music a little bit, talking this and that. I just remember being in awe of him, because I'm a big Chili Peppers fan. I was a big Beastie Boys fan. And he, he's done so much.
That's like the top of the mountain, your first time climbing a mountain.
Yeah. But then you get to the top and he goes, no thanks.
No thanks, right. Yeah, but I'd be like, well, okay, thanks for the shot, but while you're here, I have some questions.
Right.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
But it was that showcase Because music industry, everyone knows everything. So Fred had heard that we were showcasing for Rick, and that's when he got pissed off.
Okay.
Before we even got home, there was a message on Steve's answering machine, basically saying, "You guys can all fuck off and die."
You were dating somebody else, huh?
It's
pretty
on
much-
there.
yeah.
You can pull that up.
Oh yeah, the message is on YouTube and stuff. It's
Really?
yeah.
Yeah.
Someone leaked it. I remember. I have no idea. I
Didn't you
literally
put
have
it
no
on a
idea
record
who.
or no?
So Fred called you and cursed you guys out for
Yeah,
showcasing
on
for Rick?
Steve's mom's answering machine. This is back when answering machines were
What
a thing.
dipshit. What a dipshit.
Well, I don't think he knew it was leaving on Steve's mom's answering machine per se, but yeah, he left a message saying,
Fred Durst.
you guys are done.
You guys are done. You'll never
yeah.
work in this town.
Totally.
Well, I mean,
Fuck you.
I don't know what his deal was. I don't know his perspective, but years later, he was on the Howard Stern show
Yeah.
and kind of gave us a little bit of props,
Oh.
but also said we would have been better off with him. But there's no beef with us anymore. I mean, it's so long ago.
So Ruben passes, right? And then what? So where do you go from there?
To LA and New York several
Okay.
times.
All right.
We showcased for Elektra. We showcased for.
So how long did it take for Atlantic to bite?
We signed the deal in December, and I believe we started showcasing in like September.
Okay.
It was pretty quick
So when was Dipshit's phone call to Steve's mom?
in September.
In September. So
Yeah,
by
sometime around
December.
there. Yep.
So by December, so you get the call from Fred Durst crying, and then December, 3 months later, you're signed with Atlantic.
Yeah.
Okay, so you guys were putting the work in. You were in the offices, making
Yeah.
the phone calls, doing the showcases.
Flew back and forth,
Okay.
LA, New York. We were just like on cloud nine, just like, oh my gosh, this is so crazy. We used to film everything. I go back to that footage; it was such garbage. Us walking around, like, hey, here's us walking around LA. Who wants to watch this? Nobody.
Yeah, but you're hoping that someday somebody will.
Right? Yeah, but I mean, even
You're hoping that one of you do something brilliantly witty, and then
no, it was. I've watched it. It's nothing all that interesting. Our fun thing to do, which was so stupid looking back on, we would fade in and fade out all the time, all the time.
That was your thing.
We'd walk into a room, fade out, fade back in. We're still in the same room. Nothing's happening. Nothing's changed. It was just one of those features on the camera, like this. That was neat.
You were editing on the fly.
Yeah.
You were ahead of your time.
Yeah, but the thing is, even if there was something good, I mean, the quality of videos just increased so much. It would just look like crap anyway. You watch those old things on YouTube.
The video,
it's
what
like
we can do with this, like what we can do with this right now compared to those.
so much more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you sign with Atlantic, and then who produces? Wait. So take us to the first record. Then you got the deal with Atlantic.
Yep. Deal with Atlantic. Signed in December of '99. We're out in LA, I think, by January, recording
Okay.
with Auric Wild.
Okay.
And one of the big things that it's crazy. I mean,
And what had he done? What had he done? before that?
Static X was the big one at the time. He actually just posted on his Facebook a listing of, like, as he put, in no particular order, and showed all the albums he's done.
Okay.
And it's like, wow, he's done some cool stuff.
Okay.
And great dude. We definitely enjoyed working with them. But we only had I think we had a very short amount of time. First record, they weren't throwing a ton of money at us, so we had a pretty short amount of time to record the record.
And this is 19.
This is 2000, early 2000.
See, this is very interesting because you guys caught the end of the old record industry.
Yeah,
You guys
it was a turning
witnessed
point.
it.
Yeah.
You guys witnessed when they still were a bank. The record label was a bank, and it was all recoupable,
Yeah.
but there was a budget. And so
And speaking of tape, the thing that blew my mind, Ulrich would record the tape, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I remember him editing on tape. Like, he would edit the tapes. So we were doing Mirror's Reflection, song, no drum machine, nothing. We just played it.
Yeah.
And there was some fill or something in there that just didn't quite fit, but everything else was great. So he had us play the song again, and we're like, how are we gonna, how are we gonna edit this in? There's no click track. And he's like, you guys have played the song so many times, it's gonna fit. And it did. It's just one of those amazing things. He just cut the tape.
So he flew the bridge from the second take into the take that he liked of the whole
With
song.
no click.
With no click.
Just razor blade,
just
buddy.
razor bladed it.
Ooh, razor blade and tape.
Yeah.
God bless him.
Yeah. I mean, he'd been doing it a while.
And that's,
he's
that's
good.
the cut that made the album?
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah.
Did he do it himself? He didn't have an engineer
Oh, no,
over
he did
there?
it himself.
Wow.
Yeah, I watched him do it.
Talk about a lost art. We're talking about tracking.
Stop on the Studer machine and
Oh, yeah.
Get the razor out.
Yeah, exactly. You would hear all that stuff.
Yeah. Wow. So when was that released? When was the first record released?
2000, June maybe of 2000. But what a real big thing that happened then, do you remember MTV's You Hear It First?
Yeah.
We were on one of those. And you would be, I'm shocked at how many people saw that and loved it and fell in love with us from that alone.
Yeah.
You know, like there's so many people I ran into in that first year, like, oh my God, I saw you guys on that. And I was just like, I was so ready for your album. I was like, really?
Phil, what a weird special time that you guys sort of, the rocket launch. I hope you appreciate that. Like, it was a weird little time because you got to taste the old paradigm of the record labels. You got to taste the old paradigm of MTV.
Yeah.
There's only a handful of people that can say that. So you were in
And when MTV2 came out.
Whoa, yeah. But on the actual heritage program, the channel, MTV, you guys got a taste of that moment where just as they had been in a feeding frenzy for anything with plaid and grunge, they were now on a feeding frenzy for anything with big wide pants and spiked hair.
And we had big wide pants.
And spiked hair, yeah. Wow. So you guys got to feel that.
Yeah.
You're probably one of the last generations of musicians to feel the MTV pull. Yeah. To feel the feeding frenzy, you know? Because after that, it was gone.
It was different, yeah.
Yeah.
The real big turning point, to jump ahead of a little bit, was when we did Blue Sky Research.
Okay.
So before that...
Third record.
Yeah, third record. Before that, it was 2005, 2006. I remember, you know, because we've always been good to our fans, because our fans have been good to us.
Sure.
You know, we always go out there, sign our autographs, do whatever we can to keep, you know.
Dude, they fly across oceans to see you at the machine shop.
But, you know, and it's just us being us. You know what I mean? It's not some, like, contrived thing. You know,
you're just good dudes.
Yeah, and we enjoy talking to our fans. We're from Michigan. The thing that always hurt us was we never had a crazy story. You know?
Okay.
Hey, give us a story. It was like, we're just some guys that make some music and we like.
So there wasn't
playing.
A drug addict. There wasn't
none of that stuff. Okay. But after we did that album, because we used to, you know, like I said, we used to go out and sign stuff all the time. After that record came out,
if they only knew us back then, they could have some stories with that.
One of the first tours we did was with Chevelle, and Chevelle was huge at the time, you know, or it still are. I mean, they were real big, you know. We were still going pretty strong, and one of the first shows was in Indianapolis. I forget what the place is called, pretty decent sized place, but there was no parking for the buses except for right in front of the venue. You know, both buses right there. I mean, in what we call it, in the general population kind of thing.
Okay.
And it's like, oh crap, this is gonna be crazy tonight. And I signed maybe 8 autographs. People just walked by.
Really?
They didn't. They just didn't. I mean, but by us and Chevelle. I think Chevelle signed about 30. We signed about, you know, maybe a tiny bit more than that. But it wasn't much. It wasn't. Yeah. I mean, that should have been. Not should have been, but just the time. You know, the way people looked at it, just a little bit earlier. You know, if that would happen 2 years ago. Before, like 2003, we would have been, you know, signing autographs for like an hour.
Yeah,
that was it. But that was that change. That was that change in just the way people saw musicians, I guess, or whatever it was. Like there wasn't that, and not that's a bad thing, but that awe of like, oh my gosh, you're in a band. You know, just like now we can talk to you on MySpace and Facebook or whatever it was, and now that magic kind of that.
Well, it's an also
behind the curtain kind of thing.
It's also testament to that. Everest level, that stratosphere that you got to punch through to get it. Like, you know, obviously the band that I was in, Sponge, you know, when I was younger in Sponge and we would go on these package tours, I would get frustrated. Like, why are we opening for them? You know, like, wait a second, we should be on after them. You know, my perspective was different coming from Detroit, you know, and being a Sponge fan. But there's those layers of the atmosphere that you punch through. You know, there's the beer commercial layer, you know, there's the sports stadium, you know, in between innings layer, you know, there's those layers that you punch through. And, you know, regardless of the climate of the industry, when you punch through those layers, by God, people, they recognize you, you know. Right. But you had some of those, which is funny because you mentioned you heard it first show on MTV, like, you know. And then you had the Fred Durst connection. So it's interesting with Taproot because you had some of those stratosphere punching moments, you know, but there's only that select few that get that radio play, you know, and, you know, to where it's on, you know, not just the rock station, but it's on the other station. It's on not just on the alternative station, it's on the rock station. Yeah, those kinds of things. Yeah.
They were on first Ozzfest.
Really?
Or we're on not the first Ozzfest. We're on Ozzfest 2000 and 2001. I think the first one was like 98 or 97. Because I went to.
Well, you were on the one with Disturbed and.
Yes. Well, Disturbed was on both those years as well. Second stage and then main stage.
Yeah.
Because they blew up real big between 2000 and 2001.
Yeah. Well,
I seen them
year
on
of
the little
Ozzfest,
stage, so yeah, I can say.
Well, they were on at noon on that. When I interviewed them in West Palm Beach,
they were on. They were nobody
first.
stage.
You were down in West Palm Beach for that. That was the first show of Ozzfest of 2000.
Absolutely. Yeah. They rehearsed there and stuff. Yeah. Dude.
Yeah, because that's the only time you get to sound check.
I was working on the Buzz, 103.1 The Buzz, and I interviewed Disturbed. They were the first band on the second stage. And I don't remember this. I don't know if I was high or drunk or hungover. It could have been anything, whatever. But the production coordinator down there tells a story about me handing the microphone to the singer of Disturbed and walking away. Like I went to go throw up or something. I handed the mic to the singer of Disturbed. And he was like, and he was live on the air.
Right.
I don't remember it.
Yeah.
So I can deny it.
There's a tape of that somewhere.
Yeah. Were you guys on that show?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that was our first Ozzfest. I remember flying down there and just being like, "What are we getting into here?" And we met Reveille, we met Nonpoint, a bunch of cool bands that we got to.
What were you getting into? What did that tour pan out to be? Like what?
What do you mean?
Like what were you getting into? How did it turn out? Like
it was fun. It was so much fun. It was like a band camp, like a summer camp.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many because they were signing so many young bands at the time. Like you were saying, like if you had spiky hair and baggy clothes, you're getting signed. And if you
and you dropped down to B and
if you had detuned and all that stuff, But yeah, there was a bunch of young guys like us all on that tour on that second stage.
Yeah.
And we all just kind of hang out, have fun. You know what I mean? Because you play 20 minutes, so you have all day to do nothing other than watch music and hang out with the other guys.
Yeah.
So it was a lot. And then you only play a show every like other day or 2 shows in a row if you're playing the same city, but there's so much downtime,
Jesus.
Yeah.
That must have been something else, man.
Yeah. But by the second year, again, the downtime is just like, we don't want to do another one of these. Not for a while, at least. Not until we're...
So you knew you didn't want to keep on that.
I mean, I don't know if we could have anyway. I mean, like, how many Ozzfests can you do? Right. and still stay that same, we didn't exactly, some bands blew up real big between the Ozzfest.
The Stratosphere thing, it's the whole thing.
And, we just never quite crossed that barrier,
Right.
So we were still second stage. We were still, I think on one of the tours we at least stopped rotating, maybe on the second one or something. Maybe we were still, I don't remember.
Okay.
But some of those shows were so frustrating. You'd be playing, like you said, at 10 a.m. You'd be the opening band, and security wouldn't have let anybody in yet. So you have this line of like, thousands of people waiting to walk in, and you're just like, all right, let's go.
Yep.
And you're like, all right, and we start playing, and then they open the gates, and then people would walk in and walk right by. Like, nothing's going on yet. Stick around for a minute, but people would just walk in and walk by. But some people would stay, and, you'd play your show, and 20 minutes.
That's paying your dues right there.
Yeah.
Whew. Yeah.
Yeah, trying to play.
It's better that than in a bar.
Playing at 10 a.m.
Playing
is
to
tough.
the locals, right? At least you're on the stage, the second stage at Ozzfest.
Playing to a deaf motorcycle club. I've done that before.
Yeah.
Where the entire bar pulled in, and they were all deaf people. We had to play, and they were all signing.
Wow.
It was awesome.
That's interesting.
Right, it's better than that.
Yeah.
You're getting walked past at Ozzfest.
Yeah.
As opposed to deaf bikers at a bar.
Yeah.
So you can't complain. Wow. So that takes you to the second album, right? So you were touring on... Was Ozzfest the second record or the first?
Ozzfest still first record.
Still first record,
But what's interesting about Ozzfest 2001 is that's when we first started playing Poem. Well before the album before the song was on an album, it was just something, Steve had written it. Steve said he wrote it like 10 minutes. It's one of those ones that just kind of clicked. It made sense and it just worked for him.
Yeah.
And so we started playing that live, and we never, that was, even though we already had, our single and all that kind of stuff, that got the best reaction on Ozzfest. People just go nuts for that song that they never heard before.
Really?
So we just kind of knew that was going to be our next single.
Okay, so you're already introducing it to audiences at that point. Nice. Yeah. Interesting. So the story that always comes up, whether it's whatever member of the band is doing the radio interview or whatever it is, or the article, you're forever attached to this Layne Staley story.
Oh, yeah?
And, it seems to be something that follows you guys.
Well, once that got out there, because we didn't talk about it much, it's not, I mean,
it was intimate, right?
Yeah.
And it was, yeah.
Yeah, we kind of kept it under wraps. It wasn't a thing we really talked about because it never really happened.
Yeah.
It didn't. It was this close.
Right, exactly.
But we had written a song.
Well, I want to get into that.
Okay.
I want to pull out that. You got a box here, something special.
Okay.
I'm going to have Mark put the camera on you. Pull that box out and tell everybody what we got going on in there.
This is just a random piece of paraphernalia from, Taproot memorabilia, I should say, over the years. Laminates and that kind of thing. Let me get this tape going. This is riveting stuff. Listen to me open a box.
Is the frog gonna jump out and be like,
Yeah, right.
"Hello, my honey"?
Hello, my darling. Oh, ragtime gal. Yeah, check that out.
Oh shit!
This is just is he gonna get a camera? Is that what he said? Well, what I'm holding is a IBC root beer that someone, I believe it was someone at Atlantic, had made it into a gift Taproot promo thing. It's got a little Atlantic logo on it, and it's got the what's that called, the product code or whatever for gift.
That's pretty
on
wild.
It. And what's funny is this isn't the closest we've come to having our own root beer. There was I don't know if you ever heard this story, Dave, but I believe it was the second Ozzfest, we were kind of sponsored by Jones Soda.
Uh-huh.
I believe they're from around here, and someone at Jones Soda really liked us and wanted to do a Taproot beer, like a Taproot root beer.
Right.
And we said, yeah, let's do it. Sorry, you're missing a good story. I was trying to keep it going. But, so I was just showing this little IBC root beer that someone at Atlantic kind of just made into a little promo piece, just kind of something
they were giving radio stations. And,
or I don't know if they even did that. They gave it to us. Hey, here, guys.
Okay.
I don't know if it went any farther than that. But,
that's cool.
But I was just telling them this isn't the closest we've come to having our own root beer.
It's not the closest.
Not.
Okay.
We were being sponsored by Jones Soda on our second Ozzfest.
Okay.
And they would just send us cases of Jones Soda because we love the stuff.
Sure.
Still do. It's good stuff. But someone at Jones really liked our band and wanted to do a Taproot root beer kind of thing, And we were all for it. We told them yes. And then nothing ever happened of it. So I figured that guy just got fired for having such a stupid idea.
They had pictures. Didn't they have pictures of silly things that you could get?
They were called something like a lifestyle soda or something. They had really cool things, little sayings, and it would be on the back of the label. So you could read the label through the back of the soda.
It was all real custom, and different artists were involved. It was Jones was a very niche custom thing.
Right, yeah. And so they were going to do a Taproot root beer at some point. Okay. But then,
didn't pan out.
No. But if you want to do it now, we'll still do it.
Okay. Shout out to Jones.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Call us. Have your people call our people.
So that's that. A bunch of laminates in here.
Oh, my God.
This is a Chevelle one. They're obviously big fans of the Big Lebowski.
Yeah.
Different ones.
What's the craziest laminate? What's the laminate where you go?
There's a System of a Down one in here.
Okay.
Taproot's ones, obviously. Yeah, craziest one. Well, we had a stupid idea at one point for one of our laminates. There was this really disgusting. Remember that? What's that website? Like Rotten.com or one of those that had just really
Gross stuff.
Yeah, gross stuff.
Tim, you look at those, right?
No.
There was this really, someone from a motorcycle accident, his face was all ripped up and stuff. Really just awful picture. Okay. We had the dumb idea of we never did it. We were smart enough not to do it, but we wanted to put that on a laminate. So that's what you'd have to show. Everyone would have to show to people.
Jesus.
It's this awful picture.
Dead person.
What's the?
No, he didn't die.
Oh. Okay.
No, he's alive.
What's the? What's the most quote unquote? What's the most powerful laminate in that little? In other words, what could you have got?
You tell me.
At the time, what could you have gotten the most money for?
Oh, probably an Ozzfest one.
Yeah.
Those are right here.
Okay.
This is actually my Ozzfest ones.
Right.
Want to take a look at those?
Yeah.
But old System of a Down sticker. Request sugar at your local radio station. Call the box to request the sugar video. System of a Down on tour with Limp Bizkit. And then off tour with Limp Bizkit thanks to Taproot.
Dude, look at you have these are your meal passes from Ozzfest. So you got punched every time you ate.
Yep.
Look at that. This is every time Phil ate. This is when Phil ate lunch on Ozzfest, people. Check it out. Those are the punches
Look at
right there.
Daisy drank beer.
Wow. Oh, is there a beer pass?
Well, yeah, all the ones that didn't get punched where you hung over on those
Oh, yeah, he didn't make lunch. Yeah.
Yeah, I've never been a big drinker.
Not at all.
Fortunately.
No.
Here's a set list. Is there a camera I can show this stuff to?
Yeah, right here.
I don't know. The set list. If you see down here, we would either do "Get Out of My Dreams" or "Stuck" by Limp Bizkit. "Stuck" by Limp Bizkit. This one by Billy Ocean. But then we also did "Teething" by Deftones. But again, "Get Out of My Dreams" is the only one we ever recorded. And there's just a bunch of old songs we used to play. Let's see what else is in this fun little package of stuff.
Get out of my dreams.
Now, this is not from the Taproot days, but this is. I never knew how to put on patches back in the day, but I loved patches.
Whoa.
I would buy them, and I had the intention of one day getting a jean jacket and putting patches on it.
Did you have one?
I had a jean jacket.
I did too.
I had patches. I never thought to ask my mom to help me with it.
Did you have one, Tim?
Oh, God.
Did you have the T-shirt that you had, cut out and sewn into the jacket?
No. Well, the thing in my day when I was coming up was the pins. The pins on the front of your cap. Like your cap was full
I remember
of
that, yeah.
pins. Oh, yeah. Judas
Yeah, I
Priest.
didn't have those.
I had Judas Priest. I had Michael Jackson. Yeah, it was a baseball cap. And then you get these pins at the record store, and you would clip the pins to the front of the baseball cap, and you would just fit as many pins as you could. That was my shit.
You're old though.
A bunch of old
Yeah,
flyers.
I'm
A
old.
bunch of old flyers in here. Here's us playing at JD's Macomb Theater in Mount
Yeah.
Clemens, which eventually became. It was funny going back to that when it became the Emerald Theater and playing that, because those were some of our first venues we ever played.
Okay.
And we were playing to nobody.
Mm-hmm.
And then to come back later and to, pack the house
It
was just like
such a
pretty crazy.
shithole.
But it turned into, they had a nice place for a
Oh,
while
yeah.
there, yeah.
You played there at JD's, right?
I don't know.
Did you play that show there? I don't know. You were supposed to play with Collective Soul or something, and then you ended up with Bush. I remember going out to see you play there. When it back in the JD's time.
Sounds familiar.
Somebody bailed on the show, and then you guys ended up
Filling
there.
in or something.
I think it was like you guys and Bush. No, or Fuel.
Okay.
This is neat. This is
Oh,
our
sounds
around the world flight. Back when you had to
Whoa.
have, actual tickets.
Wait a second.
Check that out.
You are aware that the Earth is flat, right? You. Who paid you to say that this was around?
I meant around. It's flat, but it's still a circle, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So we
okay.
went around that
Oh,
that
okay.
way.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we're not allowed to go over the Arctic, or something.
So you went around the flat Earth.
Yeah,
You didn't circumnavigate the globe.
No, there's no globe to
There's
speak
no
of.
globe, right?
So we flew from Detroit to Chicago to, I believe, London, and then took the
Taipei.
yeah, and then did Europe, and then flew from I believe Germany to China. Didn't play China, just had a layover in China to Japan, and from Japan all the way back to Detroit.
Jesus.
So literally around the world, or whatever you want to call it, circumnavigating the
Around the disc.
flat Earth.
Yeah. That's so funny.
but-
You kept all this stuff. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I wish I kept shit like that.
But what's funny about this one, I've
all
spoken
that
of this
shit away.
before. Jared, now this is expensive tickets. This
Yeah.
is a whole around the world kind of thing.
Sure.
And so when we were leaving, before we left Detroit, Jared had lost this. And had to buy, they couldn't do it. Had we flown even a part, again, like I said, we went to Chicago. Had we done that part, they could have just said, yep, we know who you are, we can do this, and we'll just give you the rest of the tickets. But because he hadn't done even a part of it, he had to buy a whole nother round the world ticket.
If he
and it was
started the itinerary, they would have just.
Yeah, they could have helped him out. But
Okay.
with something with the rules, they couldn't do anything about it. So he had to
What the
buy
fuck
and
did
put
that
on his
cost?
credit card. I think it was like $3 or $4 grand or something.
But back then.
Because it's also like day of. You know what I mean? We're literally about to
Right.
fly. It's like, hey, we got to fly around the world. What can you do for me? So yeah, he had to do that. He ended up, it took a while for him to get paid back, and I think he ended up paying a bunch of, finance charges that,
Sure.
got screwed on that. But the funniest part is we land in Chicago. He's walking. I'm right behind him. He's walking out the plane. I see this thing hanging out the back of his
Fuck
jacket.
you.
Somehow it got caught.
No.
He had put it in his back pocket, and he got caught in the back of his jacket and got stuck there. And so, literally an hour later, hey, here's your ticket. Too late. Yeah.
When you got back, he realized it was.
No, when we landed in Chicago for that very first,
Oh, the first leg.
Very first leg,
Oh,
yeah.
got
Literally
it.
an hour later, he finds the ticket.
Dude.
Yeah.
Wow. I bet he felt like a heel.
Yeah, well, Jared's well. He's not one of those guys that's truly absent-minded, but he has lost a few things, and I'd have a running tally of anything he lost.
Okay.
That's just the kind of dick I am. So anytime he lost something else or even misplaced, I can't find my phone. I'll be like, well, it's probably with your class ring. It's probably with your bracelet you got in Portugal. It's probably with your
World
this
tour.
or that or whatever,
Yeah.
like various things. It's
You
probably
can
with
tell
it. Yeah.
Phil is the responsible one, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
But I just have the running total like as the years went on. I just name all. It's probably with this, and this, and this. Just keep that
Yeah.
total just keep getting big.
That's that math mind that you have, right?
Yeah,
That's
apparently.
another thing.
Yeah.
Wow. So, that's some really sweet stuff. God, I'm jealous of you because I wish I had saved.
You don't have anything like that?
You know what I have? I have the very first itinerary.
Check out that.
Okay.
I have the first. That's kind of a cool thing. I have the. Oh my gosh. Oh my God! Look at that. God, look at Steve.
What he's looking at is a sticker that they made for us in Japan. It's like our Japanese promo for what album is on
Right,
there?
it's a
Is that
sticker,
the
but
first
there's
album?
like
Second album?
information in Japanese. If Mark can get a shot of it.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And we also have a.
It's like a baseball card. It's like baseball card stats on the back of a sticker. Yeah.
We have this really cool Taproot fan from Japan. Her name's Kayo, and she, great artist, and she's created many. I'm looking for a different one, but this is one of the ones that she's done for us. Check that out. And she's done one for all of us, or several for all of us.
Dear Phil, thank you so much. I had
They're
a
so
very
nice
good
over there.
time. I love Taproot. I love Phil. I hope to meet you again. See you.
Yeah, but she drew
Kayo
that.
Yasuda, 2003 February, Japan.
Have you heard from her?
Oh yeah, she actually sent. Her mom does like I don't remember the full story, but she sent us a bib for when Felix was born. Like it's
Really?
a custom made like bib for Felix.
Really?
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I mean,
Yeah, she's like, my mom wants to send you this thing. Would you mind? Give me address. You don't have to kind of. I'm like, yeah, of course. I trust you. She's not.
it's like immaculate handwriting too. Like,
Yeah, right.
it doesn't even look real.
Oh, here's another one. Check that one.
She made this.
Yeah,
Same fan.
yeah, same fan.
Whoa.
And this one.
She's very talented. Kayo Yasuda, you are a talented young lady. I don't know where you are these days. Hopefully you'll come across the Timcast and see us talking about you.
Oh yeah, and there's one of all of us.
That's
I mean, this
great.
is high level. She drew this.
Yes.
What?
How cool is that?
Wow. This is high level stuff.
Oh, you'll like this, Tim.
Look at that.
This is what I bought over there. One of the many things I bought over there.
No.
That's a fighter, Kazushi Sakuraba, one of the
Yeah.
greatest of all time. Just a little like t-shirt thing of his, like a little.
So you were
That's so
into
funny. That's
fighting
his colors
back
too.
then?
Orange
Yeah.
and blue, man.
Okay.
Yeah, I got into it maybe 2000,
Is that
2001.
like
I forget.
Pride?
Yeah, Pride.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, Sakuraba was and still is the man.
Yeah. Well, by that time, he'd already defeated at least 2 Gracies.
Yeah.
At that point.
Sean, were you running into these guys during all that?
I met Sean. Well,
Way later.
Yeah.
It's funny because
listening to these stories, a lot of names, pop up, and I'm thinking, when he was in West Palm Beach, we might have been down there talking with.
The band switched.
Yeah.
by the way,
'cause
Sean's
Yeah.
from the band Switched.
Yeah.
We recorded in Boca,
yeah.
so we had our ins with
With the-
Nonpoint.
With the
and-
Bealers, right?
Yeah, Jason did he produced our album.
Because I was down there with the Cave bit. I
Right.
was with Cave,
Right.
and I was on the Buzz. That's so funny, dude. We had to have interfaced at that first.
So you went to the
I
Chili
can't
Pepper?
imagine we didn't interface
Yeah,
at that
I-
first Ozzfest.
I don't remember. You don't remember, so who knows?
Yeah.
We'll just say yes.
Well, I was horribly messed up on drugs and alcohol at the time.
I'm glad you are no
apologize.
longer.
Yeah,
As bad.
yeah. But yeah, I wonder if Sean. So you were down there at the same time because you guys recorded with Jason Beeler, who formed his own record label. Like Jason became a powerhouse in terms of production and developing bands.
Right.
And yeah.
One other name that got brought up too, and actually the first time I met Phil, I kind of use it as an in to meet him, is Toby Wright mixed our album and produced Welcome.
Yep.
Correct?
Welcome and Blue Sky Research, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right. and he also produced Alice
We did Alice in Chains.
Yeah.
He did a ton of stuff.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's so
Toby, I
fucking
love
cool, man.
Toby. Toby was our, Toby and Tim are our two favorite. We just clicked with those guys. Just like I said,
Yeah.
when the magic happens, the magic happens. Going back to just a quick moment. Did we finish this? Do we have anything more to say here?
What's
What are
that?
we saying?
Well, we need to finish. We need to properly touch on the Layne Staley story because
Oh, yeah.
before I had to go, pardon me, I had to use the bathroom. But and thank you for pulling out all that memorabilia, dude. That is so cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of
man.
cool stuff in here.
Yeah,
You got
So-
a nice box.
Yeah,
Thank
a
you.
sweet
Thank you.
box. The Layne Staley, and I was saying that the story follows you guys around, and it's something that people always ask about. This happened during which record? The recording of
I believe Welcome.
second record.
Yeah, second
Okay.
record.
You were in L.A.
Yeah, we had written a song that we called Kevin Spacey. It started out as called Spacey because it had a Spacey effect, and then just for fun we called it Kevin Spacey.
Rapist.
Had no relation to him. He has nothing to do with it.
Rapist.
We just thought it was
Phil,
yes.
show us on the doll where Kevin Spacey touched you.
Yeah, I won't speak to that. I don't know nothing about what's going on there. I don't get to watch the news. I just hear vague things.
Okay.
Yeah, I literally
You're
I
not
don't
ready.
watch anything.
It's
yeah.
fine. You're not ready.
I'm not
It's
ready
fine.
yet
It's
to
dark.
talk about it. But
It's too soon.
yeah. So that song had been bouncing around for a little while. It's one
What
of those
year? What year are we talking about? We got to
like
fill these details in.
2000
man, 'cause
again. I think it was 2002, 2001 when we
Okay.
were recording Welcome. I
yeah,
believe
in L.A. and the
Yeah.
producer at the time was
Toby Wright.
Toby Wright. Okay, wow. So everything's
Yeah.
coming together, right?
Yeah.
Because Toby was their boy, right?
Yeah, Toby was awesome. But let's see.
Spacey was the track.
Yeah, it was one of these tracks pretty much the only track that just came about from us just making noise one day.
Yeah.
Someone started doing something, we all added to it, and it just went all these. Everything you hear on that track was pretty much what we did that day. It was obviously a longer. We'd kind of go longer with it and then just develop it further, but just didn't stop and talk about anything. Just wrote it.
Okay.
The only time we've ever done that.
Yeah.
And
One
it
of
turned
those
out
times
really
where
good.
a song
yeah.
writes itself.
Yeah.
It's not a lot of struggle.
And
it
then
just-
we had recorded it, so we kind of, then made it, arranged it into an actual song. And for whatever reason, Steve just never felt comfortable putting words to it. Just never found anything that he liked on it.
Okay.
So then when
Isn't
we
that
were
interesting? A song that sort of flowed out so easily.
Yeah.
And he just never found his place.
yeah,
in it.
never put words to it. But when we were working with Toby, he was in contact with Layne because we'd done some Alice in Chains tripod record, and I think he'd worked on the one he'd worked with them since the
Jar of Flies.
Jar of Flies, yeah. And so I forget how basically offered, hey, let me see if Layne would be interested in doing something like this because
Now was this
we
you-
were
was
huge
this-
Alice in Chains
Was this
fans.
you waving your wand like you did with the guy
Oh,
from
I
God
wish.
Lives
No,
Underwater?
this is Toby. I
all
believe
Toby, huh?
Toby just offered it. Just like let's see what happens. I'm not going to promise anything, but
And you just started salivating. You guys were
it
like-
would have been awesome. I'm sure it would have been. Layne was a hero of ours.
So go ahead. So Toby offers to try, see if I can get Layne Staley. Let me try and get this in front. Let me
Yeah.
try. No promises.
Yeah.
You're his boys. He's working on your record.
Yep.
He's obviously goes way back with the guys from Alice in Chains.
Mhm.
So he just throws it out there. Steve
Yeah.
had stalled on the idea
Yeah.
of the record, and he just says, "Let me see what I can do, guys. No promises."
Yeah, he sends it out. And Layne had it, and Toby was actually flying to LA from LA to Seattle when he heard that Layne had passed. So yeah, that was one of those things like just a tough time. But we heard later though that he did have the CD. I believe I'm not sure if it's in his CD player or in his house, but it was there. He did have it
Wow.
with him.
Somebody confirmed that for
Yeah.
you guys. Somebody from the family or a
Yeah,
representative.
I wouldn't be able to speak because I don't. I think Steve knew more about it than I did.
Okay.
So he would be the one to have to speak to it. I think I think I've mentioned it in an interview at some point when I knew more, but I don't.
What year was that?
About 2002. When he died.
Right. When did Layne Staley die? See, I keep
Yeah,
asking
I'm
about the
blanking
years,
again.
right?
Yeah. My memory's not what it used
Say
to be.
May of 02.
Yeah.
Is that what it is? 2002.
Yeah. So yeah, it was Welcome for sure then.
So Layne Staley dies
April.
April 5, 2002.
Yeah.
So
something could have been. Who knows?
Yeah.
You know, who knows? Maybe thought it was garbage. I don't know.
So in 2000 and right about this time, 2002, 2003, we were on that New World Order tour, which was the first package 90s tour. We were out with Gin Blossoms, Spin Doctors, Seven Mary 3.
I remember that.
Yeah, and Sponge. And there was a band opening on that tour before we went to this was in support of New Pop Sunday. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We weren't on the 90s package tour. We were still touring in support of New Pop Sunday, the third record that I joined on. And there was a band opening for us from Seattle called Second Coming. Does that ring a bell? Remember Second Coming?
No, not at all.
It was weird for me because I had just gotten done working at 105.1 The Edge and got the Sponge gig right from working on the radio. And I had been playing Second Coming song, whatever their single was. And here we go. You know, cut to me being on my first big tour, and I'm a band that I was just playing on the radio, you know, at midnight on my overnight shifts is now opening for Sponge. And the guys were really cool. Like, they were really normal, down-to-earth guys. They were just so stoked to be out there, you know. I don't know if we're going to find the band. I don't even know if I'd recognize them if I saw them.
Starr.
Yeah.
But see, look what happens here. Do you see what happens? Second Coming. Look at the connection here on Google.
So what is the
connection?
connection?
Sean Kinney.
John
right?
Baker Saunders was the bass player of Mad Season.
Mad Season. So look at the connection from these Second Coming guys. Well, here's what happens. The bass player of the band and I start talking. He starts realizing that I was in radio, that I'm just a fan. I was a Sponge fan who got the gig playing bass, right? And he's like a fan too, and he wasn't afraid to admit it. Like, so we're both kind of like stoked that we're even there and out on tour, and he would start sharing with me. They were the bridge of Seattle.
No shit.
I swear to God. So I already kind of had a connection with him because I knew about cover bands. I knew how hard it was. Like, they were the big cover band of Seattle, and I think they were like a Pearl Jam tribute band or something like that. And they had parlayed that big following like Bridge was trying to do in Detroit.
Right.
They had parlayed it into a record deal and recorded their own album of original songs. Well, this dude, the bass player from Second Coming, went to high school with Layne.
Oh, yeah. Huh.
Like, so he had a connection with him. And the dude told me the story. He said, and I'm a huge Alice in Chains fan, right? You know? And I'm trying to get all the dirt and all the inside information I can possibly get from this guy. And he was so cool. And he wasn't talking out of school. He wasn't trying to brag. He was just, we're just guys talking, drinking and talking, right? But I was a fan, so anything that he would talk about, I would just soak it in.
Yeah, keep going.
Exactly, don't stop. So he said that Layne had a blanket policy with friends and family. He said, if you try to stop me, I'll leave. I got the money. You'll never see me again. If you pull some intervention shit, if you try to fuck with me, I'll leave. You'll never see me again. I'll go to an island. I'll take my whole life and all my money, and you'll just never see me again. So that was his threat to friends and family.
Wow.
That's how he had a standing order. If you fuck with me, if you try to pull intervention, you'll never see me again. Because you don't have the money that I do, and I'll run. So the next story he told me was coming over. Layne said he had demos from Dirt, like mixes to play him.
Wow.
And he already had money, right? Because this is post facelift, right? So he had elevated to that level, right? So he called this guy over and said, come over to listen to these mixes of Dirt, man. You're not going to fucking believe this. He comes over to his house, and he had Dirt mixes in his fucking Lamborghini. But what he was most excited about is he had run a tube. He'd run surgical tube from down, if you're sitting down on like in a sports car, and imagine between your legs, he had a pipe. He had the screen of a pipe down there between his legs in the Lambo, and he had surgical tube running under the driver's seat, up the side of the door, through the what do you call it? The head. What do you call that fabric up there? The headliner, right? Tucked in. He had been working all day on this contraption. Surgical tubes goes down the headliner. It goes across the front window of the car, down the rear view mirror, like a talk box piece of surgical tube, and the tube came out of the rear view mirror. So when he was driving, he could put a rock in the screen between his legs.
Jesus Christ.
He could fire up the rock, and he could hit it with the tube right there by the rear view mirror. and Layne had worked all day on this, you know, and listening to the mixes and rigging his
Drugs are
pipe
bad.
in the Lamborghini. Yeah. I mean, can you?
But they get creative. People that they get
Yes.
creative.
Yeah. I don't know.
Having
I mean,
all
it's-
that money and a bad addiction is
Right.
Yeah.
When I heard that, I was like, I don't know if that was before or after he had died, whatever it was. When you heard that from somebody who was that close to him, you were like, okay, well, that ends in death, right?
Yeah.
That doesn't really end
I heard he was getting 35 grand a week.
just the stipends for.
Yeah, and he didn't cash his checks, and the accountants were like, "Hey, something's up."
Oh,
He's
that's
not
how they knew he
cashing the
passed?
checks. That's,
Oh, okay.
that's the rumor I had heard. I don't know if it's
Yeah.
Yeah.
if it's true, but I'm sure
So-
their publishing was pretty solid. You know,
But to be tied inexorably, you know, with that story, you know, to be tied to somebody, and credit to Toby Wright, right, for just for even sticking his neck out to say, hey, let me see what I can do.
Yeah.
You know, and then to be that, it's kind of sad. It's awesome to have that sort of in your, you know, in your life experience, but then for it to end so sad for that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, it's that, but at the same time, he might not, you know, without that darkness, he might not have created the music he created,
Sure.
you know, so but yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
On a more uplifting story
Yeah.
about a, you know, just a random Toby Wright kind of, you know, one of my idols, I was recording Breathe from, was that on Welcome? I think it's on Welcome. He, you know, it's the only song I've ever played fretless on, like for the full song. There's a couple bridges I've done a fretless thing on. And I'm not a fretless player, but I was, you know, trying to get the parts and nailing it, and I wasn't quite nailing it. And, you know, I see Toby on the phone, and he apparently was on the phone with Les Claypool.
Oh, really?
And said,
Who knows a
yeah.
little something about fretless? bass?
Exactly, and I, you know, I guess Toby had mentioned something about me playing, and you know, he gave me some advice and just kind of threw it out through the microphone into my headphones and said, "Hey, I just got off the phone with Les Claypool. He says something or other. I forget what he said, but just something that kind of, you know, kind of inspired me a little bit." And
Okay.
and the next
Little pro tip.
and the next track, I nailed it. No, I'm just kidding. The next run through, I just got it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Next take. That's what I'm looking for. No, I have no idea.
Breathe was on Welcome, 100%.
Ah, look at that.
What's that?
The two bands that we've talked about today. It's the Skeeter, the Primus mascot.
Oh,
Yep.
okay. Yeah. Yeah, Sean lives and breathes bass. Did I see you guys looking at one of your basses over there?
Yeah.
Would you bring that on camera? Would you show us what you got there? Mr. Magic Man?
Sean makes some
Mr.
amazing basses.
Master Luthier? Dude, he posts stuff, his basses, like just when he's working them, you see him post on Facebook, people lose their shit.
Yeah.
Just over, like he has just the wood laid out. Like he hasn't even cut them into basses yet. And people are
they
like,
don't even have to
"Oh!"
sound good. Like nobody knows what they sound like.
Right.
They just
Yeah.
look amazing. No,
They-
they're all the best of both worlds.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, it's the whole package.
Yeah, I
Look at
recorded
this.
skills.
what was it, episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, episodes with one or two of Sean's basses.
Dang. Oh, I don't know. This has
Here's your moment.
5 too many strings.
Yeah.
5 too
What do you do
many.
with that?
Yeah. I don't know what to do with this. I think you have to have a degree in math to play this.
Yeah.
This is the only one I know right here.
All I
This is my
play is
bread and
low
butter
B.
right there.
Yeah.
Oh, that's B? Sorry. There you go. That's me. No, but you know what I'd like to hear? I'd like to hear Sean play this. So would you say this is for you, buddy? This is a personal bass?
This is, yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it gets about maybe 5 minutes of playtime a
Yeah.
month.
Awesome.
It's about what I do.
Because you're so busy doing custom builds for people that you got to pick and choose. You don't have time to play or enjoy yourself or, God forbid, build your own bass, right? Because
Yeah.
you're just swamped with orders.
Yeah, I'm in the shop 24/7.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shop in Ann Arbor, right?
Shop downtown Ann Arbor, out in the alley building.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And we were just talking before the podcast.
Oh, look at that. You do serial numbers. I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Nice.
We're on the. Is this like the year anniversary of your incident? Your leg. Oh, look at that. He's got.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have your burn incident a year ago?
Yeah, it was the day before Halloween last year.
Was it? That was a freak. That was a scary day, man.
Yeah, I'll vouch for that.
How are you healing?
I mean,
It's normal. It's bad.
well, I mean, it doesn't look normal.
Okay.
It's as healed as it's going to be.
Okay. Yeah, so Sean had a little incident. Kids, do not use vapes, right? Sean's here to tell you, vapes are bad.
Okay.
They hurt.
They hurt. Okay. Wow. Well, thank God you pulled through that, man. Those pictures were... It's funny. We're talking about how the beautiful pictures that he puts of his bass, the basses that he builds. And then for a minute there, a year ago, there were these horrendous pictures of this
A flash.
burn thing, the flash that
Burning
happened.
flash.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, did you guys... did you hear...
The action on these things is so good.
It's crazy.
It's
yeah.
sick.
Yeah. I've had him set up the two basses upstairs. I don't know if you saw him when you came in. He
I
set
did not.
both of those up, P bass, and then my custom P and J bass that I played mostly in Sponge. He set both of those up, and it's beautiful. It's awesome.
I play too heavy to play his basses. I just don't have that light touch.
Right.
I'm like,
Right, banging on it.
I'm an ogre.
Me too. So, did you hear Michigan connection here? Did you hear about Jeff Goot? Is that how you pronounce his name?
Goot,
Did you hear about this, Phil? This
No.
Michigan guy, they selected him to be the singer for Stone Temple Pilots.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, good for him. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And they had interviewed.
They're
and
another one of my favorite bands. I love that band.
Oh yeah, Stone Temple Pilots. They can do no wrong.
Yeah.
15,000 because they were doing that open audition thing. They had a system set up on the website. You could sing along to the tracks. They made tracks available for you to sing to and videotape yourself. And you could go on the Stone Temple Pilots website and upload you singing the songs.
No
It
kidding.
was an open audition. Oh yeah, it was open to everybody.
I've run into this guy through the years a few times.
well, yeah, that's what I was going to talk about because he's a
The name's
Michigan guy.
familiar. I don't know if I know him, but the name sounds familiar.
Dry Cell.
Oh, yeah?
He was the singer of Dry Cell.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay.
And then
Yeah.
he was on one of those shows, right? X Factor or something.
America's Got Talent or something. Yeah.
X Factor.
Was it X Factor?
Yeah, I think he was,
okay.
he was like the runner-up in one of the couple seasons of the X Factor. He's a
Yeah.
he's an East Side guy.
He was like America's favorite. Like this is him. This is him doing Hallelujah. Jeff Goot performs Dream On. Like he was an audience favorite on his season of the X Factor.
I played their new song today.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Does it?
Oh, good song choices,
Yeah.
too.
You know what I'm saying? Like I played their new single.
Right.
I
Meadows?
yeah.
Stone Temple Pilots
searching
Meadows?
to- yeah, I mean, it has all the weird little chords and
Yeah.
it does
Stone Temple
exactly what
Pilots.
you'd expect it to do.
Yeah.
And this guy's a good singer.
Yeah.
And he's obviously not a drug addict. And
Yet. Yeah. Oh,
you know.
We'll cross our fingers, right?
Now, Rob
Hopefully
DeLeo,
they-
though, is one of my... I love that guy's bass playing. He does such tasty stuff. With it.
Tasty.
He plays so well and so much without sounding like he's playing so much.
Again, that 70s throwback where the bass was its own composition.
Yeah.
The bass was almost its own song. And he keeps that going where it's there's an entire melody and rhythm going on in the bass
Oh,
line.
yeah. He does such cool stuff.
Yeah, he's tasty.
Yeah.
Really good bass player. And not to mention that a huge part of that sound is his backup vocals. Those harmonies against Scott, that was
Yeah.
a big part of what Stone Temple Pilots sounded
I've
like.
heard stories about him. His ear is apparently just phenomenal.
Is it?
Like,
Just
I mean,
one of those
he
freaks
can hear
that-
one of those really weird chords and knows what that chord is to a T.
Well, their harmonies were like seconds. Like they didn't do these large separated fifths
Right.
and lower fourth harmonies. Their harmonies were like suspended second harmonies, like things that you would just play on a piano and that would happen within a single chord phrasing.
Right.
His vocal harmonies were that close. They were like 1 and 2 notes away from the root. Nobody had ever done anything like that. It was
Yeah,
amazing. Yeah, and that was really a huge part of their sound.
Yeah, so good.
Yeah. So congratulations to this guy. You said Dave, you've interfaced with this guy, this Jeff Goot guy. I never met him.
It's been a while. I met him out Hayloft
Okay.
times back at JD's Macomb Theater back in the day.
Okay, so he was an East Side
yeah.
kind of a guy.
And then like one of my first trips out in LA, our manager and the Dry Cell manager, like they knew each other and they went off and did their thing and like we hung out at some random bar with this guy,
Jeff
you
Goot.
know.
I feel like I have a deeper connection than I'm thinking of. I cannot think of it.
Yeah,
But yeah.
perhaps you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like that Dry Cell band, they were like the next band after Linkin Park. Like these are the next guys. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Like you guys were right there too, you know.
Okay. Well, congratulations, dude. This guy scored it. So they were at the end of this whole process of worldwide open auditions. They had started with 15,000 submissions.
Can you imagine how maddening?
15,000. And these guys, the DeLeo brothers, they're not fucking assholes. Like, if they say they listen to stuff, they listen. Like, these seem like earnest guys.
Yeah.
And they were really heavily invested in finding another singer.
They've been through hell.
Yeah,
they
they've
just
been
want to
through
play
hell,
music.
and they said, we're just not done.
Yeah.
It's, you know, we love Scott, and we honor his memory, but we're not done with this band. And God bless them. They were very forthright about that. 15,000, they'd whittled it down to 500, and then they had 50 people coming out and doing, like, they were letting these guys do 2 and 3 and 4 songs with them. They weren't just brushing these people out the door. If they invited you out to LA to sing with them,
Like half a song and like, oh, you're done.
no, you were doing 3 or 4 songs with them. They gave these guys, anybody they brought out for an audition, they gave them the courtesy of several songs, sing with them. So they were at the end of this journey. They had selected somebody, it sounded like to me, and somebody goes, hey, time out. You need to check out this guy from Michigan
this other guy.
that was on the X Factor. And they said, well, hey, we're kind of,
Oh, wow.
they're like, we're kind of done here. We
I wonder who that one was. Who was the other
15,000, I think it was the Filipino guy,
Oh.
who was awesome. I don't know his name, but he was fantastic.
The guy from Journey?
Well, it's kind of like that, Phil.
Arnold, Arnold,
honest,
is that his name?
It was
Arnold something?
Arnell.
Arnell,
Yeah.
yeah. No, funny enough, but the one of the leading candidates that everybody thought was going to get the gig was a guy like Arnell, but he was nailing the Scott Weiland thing.
Right.
So I think maybe it was him or somebody like that. But they were like, hey, guys, we're kind of wrapping this up, man. We want to move on. We just interviewed 15,000 people from around the world. And they said, no, you really got to listen to
And this guy cuts in line. What a dick.
What a dick, right. What a dream stealer, this guy. But they played at the Troubadour earlier this week, and it's official, man. This guy got the gig. So, you know.
If they would have came back as talk show or something, that doesn't fill the,
Right.
that doesn't sell all the tickets at the Fillmore, you know?
No.
Right. Well, listen, I can't thank you guys enough, Phil, for coming and hanging
This was
out.
fun.
I mean,
This was fun going down memory lane. It's been a while since
Man.
I've talked about this stuff.
yeah, well, we're very lucky to hear all of it. And I was lucky that you were in town, right? It all worked
Yeah.
out. And Dave, thank you so much. I
Thanks
love
for-
you. Thank
yeah,
you
I
for
love you too.
coming.
I'm up here for fall hazard training.
Yeah.
That's your new day gig, right?
Well, I'm a supervisor at a General Motors plant.
Okay.
But for a company called JLL.
Okay.
But we have all these safety requirements. One of them is fall hazard. I have to know how to do it and what to look for. So when our guys are up in the air doing stuff, I can spot if they're doing something right or wrong. I can whatever.
Okay.
I mean, they know way more than I do. So, but it's just
So you're supervising at a plant down there in Cincinnati?
Yep.
What are you guys building down there? What plant? are you?
We're a after sales kind of stuff. Like all our stuff comes like. It's not on new cars. It's on something breaks on your car. That's kind of stuff we're shipping out. We ship out to dealerships and
Okay.
Amazon and things like that. I don't work on that side. I deal with our housekeeping and our maintenance.
Okay.
And then just the facility in general. It's really exciting stuff.
Right.
No, it's actually. I mean, it's. I didn't know how I would take to it. I do enjoy my job a lot.
Cool.
It's as Jared is the one that got me the gig.
Oh, okay.
Because when he quit the band, it's when he was working for this company, and the guy's a stud. He got a bunch of promotions. He's a senior VP of the company now, and but when they had an opening in Westchester, which is right by where I live, he called me up and said, "Hey, would you be interested in this?" I'm like, "Heck yeah!" So he got me the gig, and
God bless him.
But one of the things he told me was, it's one of those. It's not an easy job, but it's one of those jobs you'll never be bored because every day brings something new. And he was so right. It keeps it exciting,
Wow.
keeps it interesting. Just you never know what can happen. We had a fire like 2-3 weeks or 2 months after I was there.
Jesus.
And I was like, we
Did you
as
set
a-
the fire just to make sure
No.
for job security?
as a facility manager or facility supervisor, we have to be there whenever a big event like that happens. So one day I worked 20 hours, and I've only been in this company for 2 months.
Yeah.
So pretty crazy, but
Isn't it funny that shit like that, like working 20 hours when you've been through the rock world and you've been on tour, it's kind of nothing, right? Like you're
well,
so
yeah,
equipped,
I
right?
didn't have to drive for 20 hours. I
Right.
wasn't falling, like, oh my
like
God.
you've been
I
to
gotta
hell
get
and
these
back
guys,
on
yeah.
tour, like, and people in that
Yeah.
world, and God bless them, right? They're working every day doing those kinds of jobs, and it's a blessing that you got a job like that.
Yeah.
Man. It's awesome. But it's so funny that when you've come from the Vietnam of touring to be somewhere, oh, there's a roof over my head. You're right for 20 hours. Oh, I have a coffee in my hand for 20 hours. Oh,
Right.
Yeah, I can do this.
Yeah,
Wow,
yeah.
that's cool. So you were up here for training, and I'm glad it worked out that you could come on the show. I really appreciate it, man. And December 23rd, Token Lounge. You can go to Token Lounge on Facebook, on the website. Ticketmaster, if you look in the links here on the YouTube link for this video that you're watching right now, there's a link to the Ticketmaster site to purchase tickets for Taproot, celebrating 20 years of music at the Token Lounge, Saturday, December 23rd. We're gonna do something. We're gonna do something special, right? We talked about. We're gonna stream this thing, right?
Yeah, we're gonna stream it.
So hopefully, once it sells out, right? Wink, wink. Once it sells out,
the plan is to stream it. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, hopefully it works out as good as we plan.
yeah,
But I mean, live's always the, you know,
the better thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I'm just teasing. I'm gonna say we'll open up the stream once it sells out, but we're gonna have the gear there, and we're gonna stream it live, and it's gonna be a special night. And Sean, thank you for sitting in, buddy.
MadeCustomBases.com.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Great bases if you're
I heard
in the
you were
market.
coming to hang out, and I said, well, let's throw a mic up in front of him.
Oh, I just happened to be in town.
You just happen to be in town.
From Ann Arbor.
All right. Well, I love all you guys,
Yeah,
and
likewise.
thank you very much. Thank
yeah.
you for being on the Timcast.
My pleasure.
And
Thank
let's
you.
do it
Our
again,
pleasure.
and we'll see you December 23rd.
Sounds good. Thanks.
Thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you.